even when you lost. There's always a hope. Rise and fight.
All right.
BSL.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning to wherever anybody is today. My name is Doc Holiday, and with me, of course, joining is the legend himself, Liquid Drone. How you doing, Drone?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the kind words, Doc. I've always been a huge fan of you as well, so I think this should be a good time.
Man, I have to say, I never thought I'd have an opportunity to cast with such a prestigious member of the Broodwar community. Some might call you Human 2.0, the Superman. I didn't know you cast it. I was so excited because when we got into the Discord this morning, I got my coffee and everything. I sat down and then I saw I was going to be casting with you. I was so excited. I was like, oh yeah, it's time. So very glad to be here with you. We've got some pretty awesome stuff going on today. Of course, we're getting into groups here on the BSL. So we're going to be, I believe, are we going into the ZVZ first? Is that correct?
Yeah. It should first be CVC, trutaCz against Hawk, followed by XuanXuan against Red Duck. Forgive the pronunciation if it's not perfect, but we're doing our best.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. trutaCz and Hawk, both premier level foreigners. Hawk really very cool guy out here representing North America, and trutaCz out from Poland. But ZVZ is gonna be our first matchup. Very cutthroat. What do you expect to be seeing today?
Well, exciting games, of course. But in terms of whom I'm expecting to do well, I do have high hopes for trutaCz. He is a seasoned BSL veteran, always performing at a really high level, and ZZZero tends to, or he also tends to do really well in ZZZero.
Yeah,
As
we're
for
doing
the other matchup. It's like a little bit harder to call, but we can speak more in depth about it when the time comes.
So this first game is going to be best of one. Is that correct?
Yeah, there are two best of ones first, and then all the remaining elimination games are best of 3.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but I feel like a best of one ZVZ is maybe like my worst nightmare. Like if I ever got to a level where I had to compete in anything ever. I mean, that sounds, there's so many things that could happen, and ZVZ is such a explosive matchup. I'd be terrified being almost any player going up against either of these guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we pull out as our strategies go.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, ZZZero on a three-player map, it does feel a little bit coin flipping, but at the same time, I do think trutaCz has the kind of
Foxhill is sub a go-to for 12 months. Smiley
not
face.
have it be all that coin flip anymore. I think the coin flip aspect is one that's more pronounced on low levels, but once you get to like this certain skill level, then it stops being all that coin flip. But at the same time, when we're looking at a 3-player map, then the aspect of who gets the good Overlord Scout can end up being influential. We saw Avilov against Crossy just last week, where the very first game was Avilov against Crossy. ZZZero, Avilov got both build order advantage and Overlord scouting advantage. With that type of advantage, then I'm sure Hawk can also make this very exciting.
All right,
if
so
everything goes trutaCz's way, it might be harder because trutaCz is a real ZZZero master.
So I have a question for you, and you got to tell me if this is like a 5 IQ take or like a 500 IQ take. Okay. So when I do ZVZ, I purposely scout with my overlord the incorrect way, so you have symmetrical information, whether or not, you know, like it's like either nobody has the first scout or both people know where everyone spawns. Now I know you give up the natural information, but is that a 5 IQ take or is that a 500 IQ take?
Honestly, I think you might, in some instances, kind of risk losing out on some crucial timing. like if the natural is started at a certain point, then people can kind of exclude certain build orders at a time where they might have to make decisions.
All right, chat, you heard it here.
But I actually think it depends on the map and the players involved, relative skill levels. For you, it might not make any difference either way.
Ouch. It's true. It all depends on whether or not my 9 hatch 9 pool just, you know, auto wins for me. Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and see. Zero, are we ready to hop in onto the game number 1? Gotcha. Alrighty, well, so if you're competing in this, what's your build order choice?
I honestly don't really play servers and serves, so that's a kind of tough one. But I guess if I were to play against either of these, then I would go for the build order that gives me like the highest chance of getting a significant advantage. And I feel like that would be going for a 12 hatch, hoping to face a 12 pool, taking the loss if they're 9 pooling.
Got you.
But I mean that has to do with me feeling like an inferior server player in particular.
Right.
Also play pro does, sure, but especially in server. I think that the person who perceives themselves to be the worst player should be opting for a cheese or more risky build order more frequently. I mean,
right.
I also think that Hawk is of course a really good player. So even though I might have been tooting trutaCz's horn a little bit, then Hawk has a fair chance, but he is really good.
That's the thing, though, right? I think in this matchup, more than almost any other matchup, like the really like tiny details are what's going to make the difference between a successful player and not. Like when it comes to, it's like, you know, like when you're doing your little tiny drone control, right? Like your 4 drones, you're bringing it down to the natural to help defend like a 9 pool speed or something like that. The really tiny instances of whether or not your drones get off 1 extra shot or something like that is going to make a huge difference. And of course, trutaCz is shown to have the world's most like incredible micro when it comes to these really tight situations. So I mean, are you predicting that he's going to pull out a 12 pool then, or I'm sorry, 12 hatch, or do you think he's going to go for the more standard like safe?
I would be very surprised to see trutaCz do the 12 hatch because that is the build order that can kind of give you the instant loss. So I'm expecting trutaCz to either go 9 pool or 12 pool because he will perceive himself as the kind of advantageous player in an even scrappy game.
Mm-hmm. Right, because he can still make up with his skill. Yeah. Whereas I think I don't think Hawk favors the 12 hatch, but if he were to go for it, then facing trutaCz would be like a good moment to bring it out. Yeah, I would say I have a hard time making these choices myself in these situations. Hawk is a pretty experienced player, but we don't always see him. Like he's a very on and off type of player who's like competing a lot and then needs to take a long break because he's got like real life things taken care of and stuff like that. I find it hard to really get a good read on people's playstyles because when you come back after long breaks, like as a musician even, like it changes the way that I play my music, right? So do you have like a really good feel for how Hawk plays the game at all, or has it been a little too difficult to get him nailed down?
I haven't been watching him that closely in general, but my impression is that Hawk tends to favor really kind of solid non-gambling approaches, even in matches where he is somewhat of an underdog on paper. Mm-hmm. So I think Hawk is going to play standard to try to do the right thing, not get some type of cheesy win. He's no Avi Love.
You think that's a bit of a weakness though? Because I certainly feel like at least it's better to be dangerous than where you still have the ability to throw out something that might surprise your opponent or to take a risk in a situation that to maybe maximize your opportunity for a win. I mean, because I would have to also agree with you that I think that trutaCz is a bit favored in this matchup, and I would like to see something a little crazy come out of Hawk in order to maybe make something happen here or give him a better opportunity, maybe in the odds game. So I mean, like, if you were gonna give him a build order, would it be the 12 hatch, or are we looking more at like something really crazy, like a super early pool?
No, I don't think super early pool is a good idea, because trutaCz is kind of likely to open with a 9 pool, I think. And then you just automatically win against the 5 pool. And I think even if you go open with a 12 pool, you will normally actually be able to hold a 5 pool.
Right. I mean, you can't even rely on him to make any micro mistakes.
And seeing how I don't think trutaCz is going to 12 hatch, because that's like a risky build order for him, then I'm pretty certain we're seeing a pool before hatchery. Hawk on his side, I would like to see open with a 12 hatch, but I don't think he will. And you can look at the statistics of the two players. trutaCz has a 79% win rate against Zerg, while Hawk has a 29% win rate against Zerg. So Hawk is more of a macro player.
That is a pretty rough win rate for ZZZ.
Yeah. And trutaCz does excel in those kind of small battle mutalisk. He has 2-2 background, and Hawk is this macro style who excels when the game gets past the 15-minute mark.
So never in ZVZ.
Yeah, kind of.
Imagine though we get to like the plague devour mutalisk guardian stage. I feel like
in
Hawk
that case they would actually both be good, I think. But because Hawk is he's a thinking player for sure. Like I think his micro with small groups of Zerglings and mutalisk against Scorch is a little bit worse than trutaCz, and that tends to be kind of crucial.
Alrighty, well, it looks like we have our game ready to go, guys.
Awesome.
We're going to be playing the best of one here on Ascension. So as you said, it's going to be a 3-player map that does quite affect the way that scouting works in ZVZ. And of course, the biggest problem when playing on Ascension is ignoring the face in the bottom corner of the map, just staring back at you and judging you. So that's going to be a difficulty for our players going on as well. But let's go ahead and hop right on into it, guys. Here we go.
Oh.
Alrighty, well, in the top center of the map, as our nice, gentle pink color, we have, of course, trutaCz. And in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the red Zerg, we have Hawk.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to adjust my screen a little bit.
No worries, man. Well, we do have ZVZ. We were talking about how build order is, of course, going to play a huge factor in how basically the entire game plays out. This is definitely the shortest matchup, most explosive, and I would say, I mean, far be it for me to be balanced, but I would certainly say the most unforgiving when it comes to tiny mistakes in control in the early game, and just being able to, get one extra drone out can often win you the game here.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks like we already have,
they're both scouting each other, so that's fine. And you see trutaCz open with a 9-pool gas. Let's see if Hawk is doing 12 pool or a 12 hatch. This is going to be crucial. It looks like a 12 hatch to me. No, maybe not. Yeah, okay.
Okay, awesome. Nice safe in-base 12 hatch.
Okay, that's a little bit more interesting. I'm not sure how this is going to play out.
So he's splitting the difference here, because this is going to be, again, much safer versus the early pool type of play that we're seeing come out of trutaCz. It's certainly not going to be one of those games where you just instantly die at your natural expansion. There's still a ton of opportunity, of course, for trutaCz to put on pressure here in Hawk's main once the Zerglings come across the map with speed and everything like that. But this is certainly a better start than just going blind 12 hatch into it. As we see, Zero highlighting the fact that we are just now getting gas here. Quite late, actually, droning all the way back up to 12 before throwing that down. So we're going to have quite a delay in the speed timing.
Oh, is this going to be some type of hidden hatchery?
Oh my gosh. The wings are coming out
already.
already.
Going back to drone and it's going into sunken. Okay.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, I think Hawk is going to hold just fine. Because normally,
drones...
like, if he had placed the hatchery in the natural, then he would have a hard time holding it. But now I think it's going to be barely just fine. I'm guessing he actually practiced this build order against Ninetales specifically, so he knows that he's able to exactly hold it. It looks like, yeah, it looks pretty perfect. Sunken is done now.
Yeah, Sunkens with their extra armor plus the fact that drones can just keep all the Zerglings off of them with a nice little drill to the gas makes it very difficult to attack this base. So getting a nice early economic lead with a second hatchery and those additional larvae is going to be really a big factor here. Looks like we went for layer first as well, so the layer won't be super crazy delayed behind trutaCz's single hatch build. So the mutas will be coming out here. And we're going to be getting right on in the mid game. I think I don't think that trutaCz is going to really commit to any more Zerglings because that would be pretty difficult of a bust here. Almost a little surprised at that we don't have any additional running around to take advantage of the speed timing in the main for a little bit. But everyone's just kind of backing off, and we're kind of got a ceasefire until we head up into the mid game here.
Okay, trutaCz also placed his second hatchery in his main. I think he's afraid of a link club from Hawk, and he realizes that he wouldn't have enough larvae available to make both Mutalisk and Zerglings enough to defend the natural. trutaCz does have the gas advantage, and I'm not seeing how Hawk is gonna take his natural, because he will have to invest into some type of spore defense now. Like these links, I think they were just going to be too late to do anything to trutaCz because he's starting his Mutalisks now.
Yeah, it is actually really interesting in this matchup. It like just when you get your gas started, it makes such a huge difference because you're going to be essentially kept on your one base due to the fact that the mutas will be able to stop any kind of expansion attempts going over the natural.
At the same time, I think maybe the Zerglings from Hawk are basically going to succeed in forcing trutaCz to stay home with his mutas.
Oh yeah, there is a large Zergling advantage here. Once the mutas come out here,
like 18 against 8, I think, but now he's pulling back. And you see that Hawk still had to make spores. I mean, having spores is somewhat of an advantage later on, but you basically see that Hawk has lost the drone advantage. I mean, if Zero can highlight the drones from each player, that's wonderful, but I don't think he has a significant advantage. Yeah, 10 on minerals.
All right.
And 8 on
Zerglings
minerals.
now trying to make a difference here in the main of trutaCz. Of course, not going to be able to do very much because we do have the Mutalisk up in the air being completely untargetable, and then, of course, that very tanky Sunken doing a ton of damage as well.
Still, though, he did actually get one drone, so now it's 7 against 10. Oh, maybe
another.
No, nah, good pullback.
We do have a lot of Zerglings being created still on Hawk's side of the map here. Do you think we're going to be seeing something like a lot of...
But there you see it, like trutaCz kills 2 drones immediately. That's a big deal. And now Hawk is not able to mine his gas. And he's not able to produce enough Mutalisk to contest.
Yeah. And it's
unless
so
they get some amazing scourge hits, then Hawk is in trouble here.
And those are so hard to get against a player with such good control like trutaCz.
Exactly.
You know, like Scourge, the higher up you get, just don't have the same value. Oftentimes you'll see, Scourge in lower level play be pivotal actually in your ability to create an advantage here. But I highly doubt we'll see a single needle side of them.
And Hawk also seems to be supply blocked. He's 8 supply behind now, and lost his pool. Yeah, okay, this is getting rough.
And looks like we even have a couple of Scourge back at home from trutaCz just in case. The Zerglings now coming out here for Hawk, trying to get any kind of advantage, but these are going to be the last Zerglings ever.
Yeah, he did miss the pool. And now the Mutas are back home.
Oh man. Now what do you do in a Hawk situation? I mean, you're basically locked into an air battle for the rest of the game. 200 minerals is a whole lot to sacrifice to try and remake a pool. So I don't think you ever do that. But if you're just, the only advantage that you really have are these 2 spores at home, so you never get to really get out and be aggressive at all. Maybe sneak out a few mutas.
The 3 spores are quite nice, but it seems like trutaCz has such good map coverage and the mutalisk advantage, so Hawk has a very hard time trying to kill any overlords that would enable him to move out on the map with his mutalisks. Because if, like, the situation that could give Hawk like a fighting chance would be if he managed to kind of sneak into trutaCz's main while trutaCz's mutalisks are out on the map, because then he could kill drones while trutaCz couldn't do the same thing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But he does have 12 Scourge in his mains, so
yeah, it could be very hard to do anything here. And that map control, that you're just talking about, that he's been afforded by his gas advantage here, is instantly going to be translated, looks like, into a natural expansion. Of course, getting that up is going to be the first sign of doom for Hawk. Getting a second gas is basically going to be game over. As long as we don't lose the natural expansion here and waste 300 minerals somehow forgetting to cancel or something like that, I doubt that we're going to be seeing much of a change in the pace on this game here.
I think the only real chance trutaCz or Hawk had was that trutaCz was kind of taking a lot of hits trying to kill drones.
Ooh, I like this though.
Yeah, and he's also trying to hide his 5 mutalisks to do some type of backstab. Like, next time he sees trutaCz's mutalisks, maybe trying to do some harassment, he's going to move in with those 5 mutalisks and get some drone kills. But there still are those 12 Scourge of trutaCz. But they're also
a lot of them are on the map. There's only 4 at home right now.
Only 4 at home right now.
Extra spores coming up too.
Has the chance to get some damage done if trutaCz had committed, but he didn't. He moved back instead.
Yeah, that is a pretty scary thing, right? So we have, I think, was it 4 spores at home right now?
Yeah.
We have a hidden hatchery now going down kind of in the bottom right of the map here as well. Hawk really at least making the correct moves here. He's taking the risks to try and get himself back in this game. I don't know. I mean, trutaCz is it's got such a dominating air force right now as well. 4 spores is a lot, but unfortunately spores don't do a really good job at fighting together.
No.
So
I'm actually really pleased with Hawk's decision to kind of take the hidden expansion and hide those 5 mutalisks, because I think trutaCz is kind of waiting for Hawk to now attack the hidden base that he just found. And then he's going to move in with those 5 mutas and try to do some significant drone damage.
Well, that is a very sad day, unfortunately, for Hawk. Doesn't get to get this base up at all.
Yeah, but now the mutas are gone. So now he's going to move up. Yeah, you see immediately the 5 mutas move in. But there are too many Scourge at home waiting for it to happen, so...
Yeah. I mean, if Hawk managed to turn this game around in this position...
now, but not enough damage at all compared to losing the base.
Unfortunately not. Man, but look at the micro, though.
Yeah. The micro has been solid, really solid. But still, trutaCz has a funny lead, and now the battle is happening. This is not ending well for Hawk.
Yeah, the Pink Gang unfortunately shows up and pushes these boys out of territory. And this is looking to be about the last fight that we're gonna see. I wouldn't expect this game to go on too much longer here.
No.
Of course, there's always the.
That's a good game. Yeah.
There we go.
There's all the trutaCz. Hawk. I mean, he did well. I can see the reasoning behind his choice of build order and what it was kind of aiming for. But the Zerglings were just a little bit too late to force Hawk into building more links of his own.
Yeah, the muta showed up right in time to defend the choke there.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I mean, he took his shot. I think that nobody's super surprised that that's how the best of one shaked out. But I really was happy with kind of the choices. I'm glad that he went for the hidden base. I really liked how he was setting up, static defense at home to try and rely on maybe a backstab there in order to maybe find himself an advantage. At the point where you're in a position where you can't lose or you can't win the game conventionally, it's really definitely time to start changing it up. And Hawk did a good job of making good decisions to try and bring himself back into otherwise lost game. So
yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. But still, the kind of early game choices and the timing basically of Hawk's circling attack being a little bit late allowed trutaCz to just get a mutalisk advantage and gas advantage that he transferred into a win. Great job.
I would say that the game, it almost seemed like this was exactly how he planned the game out. Obviously, clearly not the losing part, but he did delay his gas a little bit to get a little bit of an extra drone advantage. I think that was an attempt to hedge for the idea of knowing that he's going to need to make some spores and then try to maybe leverage his mutalisk across the map or something like that. trutaCz, though, unfortunately just didn't take the bait at any point in time. And of course, he had the... I don't like the words. People use the word star sense. I don't like star sense, but he certainly had the experience to know. If Hawk isn't trying to take a hidden base right now, then he's not on my level. So trutaCz is out there with a scourge, looking for bases, everything like that. It's so hard to pull the wool over the eyes of a player like trutaCz, who's been playing for forever and is clearly one of the best players in the foreign scene. But Hawk's not out of the group yet. Still have losers match that he'll be able to play through, so this isn't the last that we'll see from him today. And we will be going on to seeing XuanXuan, or is that? I tried my best. Versus Duck.
XuanXuan, but yeah.
Yeah, XuanXuan, sure. Thank you, Duck, for having it's much easier for me on this side of things. But Duck recently, I guess, switched to Protoss, so we're not going to be seeing a TVT here. And then China have been really exporting some really fantastic Terran players to the scene fairly recently here. Of course, don't have very much information on our Chinese player, but expecting a pretty high level, if he's anywhere near the level of his peers that have been coming to play in our otherwise, the foreign scene out here. PvT going to be a fun matchup. Best of ones on a 3-player map, though. How do the stats shake out on Ascension?
It's really close. I was just looking at the different spawn bank map statistics. So for Korean pro gamers, and Protoss versus Terran is extremely close on both or on all the 3 maps, Ascension, Goodnight, and Better. Of course, not for all of the other ones, but for Ascension. Protoss versus Terran, they have played 587 games, and you have 294 wins for Terran and 293 wins for Protoss.
Oh man, so we're literally on.
Literally
split there.
Split.
Well,
or 1 game away from being a complete split over almost 600 games. So neither player can blame the balance, whatever happens.
Legitimately, of course, there'll always be folks out there that make excuses regardless. Like me, of course. I never win.
They were screwed over by the map, of course, but there's no reality to the claim.
Exactly. So, but okay. So Duck is fairly. You can't really say anyone's new to any of the high level players are not new to the races. But when you see a radical change in the number of games played, where Duck is now identifying as a Protoss player. He's still fairly new, I think, into the tournament scene, playing as a Protoss, and on top of that, playing with a relative unknown. We really don't have a huge amount of information on the Chinese StarCraft scene, so there could be a lot of tendencies and things that are unexpected. I would really, at least on like when we're talking about like analyzing like meta influences on this game, Duck may be kind of on the back foot as far as information goes. If you had to do a wild shot in the dark, give me your prediction real quick for this one.
Okay, it is a shot in the dark because I'm not familiar with XuanXuan at all, and I'm not really familiar with Duck's Protoss. I saw his Terran quite a few times, but if he is, he's his Boa's brother, so it wouldn't be a weird thing for him to kind of copy his playstyle in some ways. In that case, I'm expecting proxy gateways for Cellular harassment.
Oh my god!
More aggression.
Alrighty, guys.
And kind of committing to some type of not necessarily all-ins, but plays that seek to damage Terran, because like the different approaches are kind of either you're just playing your own game, getting your own macro going, or you want to keep it more low economy.
Mm-hmm.
My impression of Duck as a Terran was that he kind of preferred playing a longer game, but Boa as a Protoss, whom I think might be a significant influence for him, leans more towards aggressive, low econ plays, with a lot of attention paid to his units. Also very solid fundamentals in every way. So I'm expecting a pretty high level and but aggressive approach to this.
Alrighty, well, let's hop into the game.
Yeah.
We're going to be heading on over again to Surprise Pikachu Old Man Face Ascension, and here we go. Alrighty, guys. Well, starting in the top center of the map, looks like we have okay. That's SwanSwan. I was reading the names wrong. I was like, I guess we did Terran after all.
Well, I guess my prediction is already wrong because he did not proxy the gateway, and you can see that Duck has not started his gas, so he's going to go into a quick Nexus. I like this build order as Protoss. I don't have much experience with it, but the little experience I have with it has been very positive.
Well,
I can't
Duck...
really speak too much about how the game is going to play out based on the openings, but I'm a fan of Duck's opening, and also with the late Probe Scout, he really has his economy going in a good way.
Looks like Duck is going to be sending out his Zealot here soon. SwanSwan going to see that as well, so highly unlikely that we're going to see too many Marine deaths, especially with the wall and all that.
Doesn't need one. Or doesn't really need more than one.
But yeah, it looks like so that is surprising though. That Boa and Duck, of course, being brothers, you would think that he would have at least taken a little bit from the experience of his brother, but it looks like going to be playing more towards his own preferential style here. I think it's so surprising. I find that we're often like a product of our environment, just in general. So if I had a big brother who was like one of the better Protoss players in the world, I'm going to switch to Protoss. I'm just going to like do what he does for the next
you also kind of want to step out of his shadow, right? So maybe it's even kind of
in spite of Boa,
influencing him in the other way. Like, I'm not going to be like my brother. Oh, and he's pulling SVs. Okay. I don't think this is going to work. This is exactly why I like the gateway into Nexus build order. My experience is you hold the SV Marine full quite nicely.
Alrighty, well, here we go.
Of course, it always boils down to execution, and I'm not sure if he's seen the SV. And that's a lot of SVs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, is that 10 SVs this pulling? Then he needs to kill the Nexus, and preferably some probes also. Only killing the Nexus even isn't kind of sufficient for him.
All right. Well, the Benny Hill music is over as the now the Vulture arrives to actually force the engagement. But we do have the bunker coming down immediately, and wow, this Dragoon getting a lot of SV damage.
That is a big deal. That's a very big deal.
Oh no, we have traitor probes. They held him in place while the SCVs and Marines beat him up. I don't know who's paying those probes, but
he has to pull back the probes and accept that the Nexus is going down.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. But you know, we're not 100% out of the woods yet. Oh my god!
Wow!
A full surround with the SCVs, completely destroying another Dragoon here. Tons of Marines, another bunker going down.
He needs a supporting pylon. This is looking bad. Oh, let's see if goons are going to finish soon.
Oh my gosh, the pylon is just about to kill or be killed, and now we don't have any more production. This could be the world's most jacked Dragoon, but I don't think he's got the. There he goes. Yeah, he's unfortunately down here, and we do finally have.
He's going to lose now because no more Dragoons coming out until the pylon finishes. This was unfortunate. Like, Duck actually lost 2 Dragoons being surrounded by, well, first his own probes and SVs, and then just the SVs, and then you see that once the pylon finished, the Dragoon escaped, but now he's losing the pylon again.
Yeah, unfortunately, XuanXuan not a big fan of pylons.
XuanXuan actually has a healthy SV count at home as well.
Yeah. Even if the worst thing in the world possibly could happen for XuanXuan, he still gets the Nexus, he still killed a bazillion pylons, he still killed like half of the probes. Like, this is a nightmare situation here.
Yeah, and I think it's going to finish the bunker as well. Maybe not, but I think so.
Yeah, that was such a rough initial engagement there, where the probes came in, essentially held that Dragoon in place to get beat up by all the Marines. If we had, you know, seen some kiting or something like that, this would have gone so much better. But unfortunately, everything is just dying here. Duck must be not super happy about how this went.
6 probes left, and the bunker is down.
Well, if there was ever a time for a play like this, a best of one is gonna be it.
Yeah, it pulled the trigger and it worked out.
Wow, a very decisive and aggressive move there by our Chinese player XuanXuan, knocking out Duck very quickly and cleanly. Unfortunate bit of control there from Duck. It just really sealed his fate, guys. But with that, the best of ones are done. I believe we'll be going to a break here in a minute while we get ready for the winners and losers rounds. But I hope you guys all stick around in the chat. Thank you all for showing up this morning. And remember, guys, if you guys want to support the BSL, there's a lot of great ways to do that. You can check out the Bombastic shop over on the website, as well as contribute to the Patreon, subscribe to the channel. And guys, yeah, please take care of Zero, because he's out here doing all the best work in the foreign scene right now. And he's going to be doing full-time StarCraft. So yeah, really needs your support, guys.
I do think the Patreon account looked a little bit more substantial than it's been before, so that's
yeah. We just want to see that keep growing so we can have BSL for forever. So thank you guys all for showing up, and we'll see you here after the break.
Yeah, and we're also going to have 1 minute of silence during the break or after to give some attention to the ongoing crisis in Europe with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I know this is a Broodwar cast, but some things actually matter more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear that we're a very international community with ties all over the world. And I think that it's, you know, anytime you have a humanitarian crisis like that, standing in solidarity as a community, regardless of the size of our community, is something that we should all be happy about having the opportunity to do. So,
yeah.
As well, welcome back to the BSL. Thanks for staying with us throughout the break while we get ready for the next matches here. So it sounds like we're already in the game and ready to go. So not too much time to kind of
to introduce
shoot.
players.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm so excited to
Let's go.
get into it. Let's do it.
We're looking at trutaCz against XuanXuan.
Yeah, I believe that is correct. We should be going into the winners match next. So
Yeah,
going to have a ZVT, my personal favorite matchup. I don't know how you feel about it. but,
well, I'm strongly in agreement with that. I think that's the most diverse matchup in the game, where most different approaches are valid from both players. Terran can do both bio and mech. That's not really an option in either TVT or TVT. And Zerg can open either Mutalisk route or Lurk route. And both, like going into Hydra Lurker, it's a personal favorite of mine, and I've seen trutaCz do it with quite some success. Or just entirely skipping them, going into Mutas and staying in Zerglings, going into Ultras. That's also a valid approach. So
yeah, I think
a lot of
definitely
options
right there.
basically for how to approach the game.
I think it's so fun too. The matchup is just always on a nice edge. It's very execution heavy. Lots of really awesome choices to be made. As you said, we have the option of drop shifts. You can go for a fast tank versus things like lurkers. And honestly, I feel like this is like the iconic StarCraft matchup. Like, no offense
It
to
is the StarCraft
Protoss
group.
players. Yeah, exactly, right? I think this is like the cinematic matchup that everyone
Yeah.
thinks when they think of StarCraft. So this is absolutely my favorite thing. If I could only watch TVT, I'd probably make that decision. So. Alrighty, guys, we'll be heading towards Good Night here. From what I hear, it's a pretty decent Zerg map. Of course, this is going to... So, looks like we have 51% TVZ, which is, pretty balanced when we're talking about TVZ maps. So,
Looking at these BSL stats, they look perfectly balanced in terms of Zerg. I also had a look at the spawn bang matchups or statistics from Korea, and there you saw that Zerg had a kind of solid advantage, and there are very few maps where Zerg has the advantage in terms of Zerg in Korea. This is one of the few ones. So
alrighty.
it's definitely a good map for Zerg to open on.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and hop right on into it, guys. Here we go. Alrighty, guys. Well, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Zerg requesting low latency. We have trutaCz.
And spawning in the top right, we have our Chinese Terran, XuanXuan. And he's moving. Oh, he's already.
Oh my gosh.
7 racks. I think that actually was the 7 racks, but we didn't see it when it up.
XuanXuan actually out for blood here. Looks like we do have the depot going out in the front as well, so we can create a nice wall for the natural expansion once any type of aggression is finished up here. Man, these are two big, bold ways of starting a series here.
But trutaCz is going into 12 hatch. It is cross position though, so it should be holdable, but
definitely going to be scary. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely going to be scary. And already moving out with the 3 SEAs.
Man, XuanXuan really indicating a pretty solid stylistic preference already. Clearly, in these 2 games so far, extremely aggressive here. Now, this is going to be a best of 3, so getting caught off guard one time not going to be enough to eliminate trutaCz here and knock him out. So, very likely going to be a next game, regardless of however this you know,
now
shakes
trutaCz
out.
sees that there are 3 SCVs scouting him. That should give him the indication that this is going to be a bunker rush, because his 2 overlords saw different SCVs and his drone saw 1. So trutaCz at least should be in the know that this is a fast Rex, because you would never scout with 3 SCVs if you're not intending on bunker rushing.
Yeah, he sees a second SCV arriving at his natural now,
But
and oh my
also
god,
SCVs being
even
pulled.
more. It looks like XuanXuan's highly aware of the fact that SCVs are actually just ridiculous in the early game. I believe they have something in the realm of like 5 million HP per unit or something like that. It feels like sometimes. We only have 2 drones left on the mining, as this is definitely a big crisis response here. Drones now. Okay, in position.
And he's starting 1 sunken. It sucks for him that he had to, or that his gas completed. That
Oh my
cuts
gosh.
his drone count.
This solid wall of Gundam warriors, they're not allowing a single drone to get on top of these Marines quite yet.
Oh,
And
he's
an
trying to get
excellent
1
drone
Marine,
drill.
Yeah, but it gets 1 Marine. That's not really sufficient in this scenario, I think. I think trutaCz is just going to be dead here.
Yeah, there goes the sunken colony and all the hopes
You
for
see that he only
trutaCz.
has 3 drones in main, so we can't even support full link production for both hatcheries, even though there are only 5 SCVs in this game. It's looking bad. The bunker is also really well placed.
Trying to pick off the reinforcing Marines here. Actually really excellently controlled, but unfortunately not able to really make a difference here. This bunker is going to represent a chokehold for basically the rest of the game. You know, we don't have enough drones even to like try some kind of shenanigans like a 1 base layer or anything like that.
If he had not tried to use those 6 or whatever drones he lost, he could have maybe played this from a maybe 1 base scenario, but now I don't see it working. Even though StarCraft's economy is also in complete shambles, it's still better than 5 drones than 1 hatchery.
Yeah, and these 3-lings that we have on the map, not really going to be able to make much of a difference, since 3-lings barely beats, you know, half an SCV at this point in the game.
I guess if he keeps kind of suiciding SCVs trying to get vision of the ramp, and maybe if more Marines come and trutaCz is able to kind of sneak out those 3 links to deal some damage.
Yeah, XuanXuan really wanting
This
to
is
force
the
the
only way
situation.
XuanXuan can lose, I think, by trying to push the issue. Because if he actually gets caught and loses his army, but no, he's just gonna win.
These reinforcing Marines gonna seal the deal here. Probably doesn't even really need a micro against these links, to be completely honest.
He's only able to get the gas at the moment, and he only has 2 SCVs left. What are the links that are out on the map doing? Because if he could come with those from behind, if the bunker finishes, then there's just no way.
They're trying, but I mean, if we look at the supply, there's a huge number of SCVs still back at home. It's not like we're on like destitute economy now. Yeah,
No.
a fully saturated mineral line, that's gonna be all over.
Good opening, worked out. Slight, well, unfortunate by trutaCz that his gas is main finished. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to be more out on the map with his drones. I actually thought he had a chance when he had like a group of drones on the high ground, and if he had tried to hold the advantage or hold the XuanXuan's attempt at moving forward, maybe he could have helped. But once the bunker was up and the drones were dead, he really had no chance.
I feel like our Chinese player must be a little confused at some point though, because I don't think anyone told him that this isn't actually a speedrunning event. Like we're trying. I feel like I got like 30 more minutes left in this cast if XuanXuan keeps playing the way that he's that he keeps playing. So he is just knocking people out real quick with these aggressive moves. Now, this is a tournament, so this is going to, I think, catch up with him if he continues to play super hyper aggressive like this. I love, though, coming in as an unknown quantity and being crazy aggressive for a while, because no one knows what to expect from you. That's the best time to do it. Now, do you expect him once again to be pulling SCVs in this next game, or you think we're going to be seeing like something really greedy coming in? Because that's how I always like to play, is be really stupidly aggressive and then like go like 3 hatch before pulling something silly.
Personally, I'm a pretty huge fan of opening with something cheesy in the first game of best of 3. I think it's good. You're kind of setting the pace for the rest of the series, taking command. So I'm definitely a fan of his approach, but he should not do it again this game. Like, I would be surprised and inclined to think that it's a bad idea if he opens with forward fast racks in this game as well.
Yeah, I think this is a great way, though, to get trutaCz to start playing on the back foot right away in the series.
Yeah.
You know, like, even if this didn't work, this still sends the message that I'm not afraid to kill you right away. And so don't get too greedy. Don't make any mistakes in the early game. You definitely want to early scout me. You want to make sure that you know what's going on. So, I mean, it's certainly a very strong way to end the series here.
I'm also thinking that trutaCz is the player who can open, or who can be comfortable opening with a 12 pool, because he has very good micro. He's very good at those low economy scenarios in all matchups. So, and therefore, like, if you're opening against a 12 hatch, then you have the advantage with this type of opening. But if you're up against 12 pool or 9 pool, you are hugely disadvantaged. And with him doing this in game 1, I think trutaCz is reasonably likely to open with a pool first, which again would mean that for XuanXuan, the best approach should be to open with a more regular 10 or 11 racks.
All right, so I have some breaking information from the chat. I have been informed by looks like Bourbon SC that your protege Artosis wants to add additional attack range to SCVs, so that way in the early game they can compete, I would assume, with drones and probes. How do you feel about that balance change? Do you think that's a fair assessment?
No, not really. They already have higher attack rate and more hit points. So
you're saying that SCVs are good units, in fact, and that we probably shouldn't add
especially looking at their offensive capabilities, then yeah, SCVs are good units. Even though you sometimes see, with pro gamers, they can kill an SCV with moving shot using either drones or probes. But SCVs are still very strong units to bring with Marines in the early game in 2 of the matchups.
Alrighty, guys. Well, let's go ahead on into the second game of this series. Heading on over, of course, to Mark Zuckerberg's map. We have Metaverse here. And let's go ahead and hop right on into it. Okay.
And that looked like it had a 4-1 record for Terran Sturgeon BSL. Not a big sample size. Introduce the player spins.
Alrighty, in the top right-hand corner, spawning as our blue Zerg, we have on the back foot in this series right now, trutaCz.
And in the bottom left corner, we have our Chinese player who took the first game in a quick fashion, XuanXuan.
Alrighty, let's see if we have a forward barracks again. Doesn't look like it though. No SCV out on the map already to build, so looks like we're gonna have a little bit more normal of a game getting started here. I would be honestly a little disappointed if we saw a pool first. I don't want to see a pool first. I want to see the hatch first. I want the statement that we're not afraid. We're not going to accept the bullying of the Terran regime. I really want trutaCz to play absolutely 100% his most normal game ever. I don't know. I don't like the concession that to make that pool early.
Sure. I'm not disagreeing there, and you can see that it looks like it would have been a poor choice to go pool first. It does hamper your economy in some way. I mean, going for a 12 pool, it's not a big deal. But especially with the XuanXuan going into fast gas now. Okay, in that case, I'm very happy that trutaCz is opening with the hatchery first, because going up against mech or some type of one-on-one build or raids or whatever, you really want to get out as many drones as you can as quickly as you can. But you see, he drone scouted really early, and that is probably how he chose to kind of deal with it. And now we can see that the gas is already finished. So I'm guessing trutaCz is or his preferred way of dealing with this is to hatch Mutalisk. I'm pretty certain that's how it's going to be for him. Could be some type of Ling Lurker all in as well. I could picture it, because especially if the turn rate is a little unfortunate for him. trutaCz is not a big fan of kind of micro Mutalisks with lag. But if it's comfortable, then he's going to go into hatch Mutalisks. Could be a Link Flow as well.
I would be very surprised if you could find me a Zerg that's a fan of micro Mutalisks with bad lag. But so yeah, trutaCz does get shoved out of the main early there. Of course, I mean, not like early in comparison to what should have happened, but you know, he sees that the SCVs have been taken off the gas, so should be reasonably sure that it's not going to be 2 hatch rate. Of course, you could always have it delayed, but 2-port Wraith is I would say fairly fragile and extremely difficult build order to pull off against someone as talented as trutaCz. Looks like we have like a pretty normal opening with just a vulture to come out here and be annoying. So the Sunken is going to be able to take care of that very quickly.
Is he starting a starport now? That's what I want to know. Or like, what is he using his gas for?
Okay, yeah, looks like we just have a depot right now in a machine shop. Okay. Looks like we're just going to be likely just using that for a little bit of map control with mine placement all over the map and being able to, you know, leverage those.
2 links against 2 Marines? This doesn't go either way? No, okay, it's just running inside, which is a good choice. This is a good choice, of course.
I think the information is much more valuable than the
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this looks like a standard Goliath build.
That's great information to see that
Absolutely.
So early.
See, now he knows he doesn't need like a fast Hydra then. He can, if his drone managed to escape there without being seen by the vulture, then he can comfortably take his third. This is looking very good for trutaCz, in my opinion. Although I wish he hadn't built those 6 Zerglings, like building a couple to block any type of run by. I would have been a fan of. Okay, you do see a Link Flood. He's going to get Zergling speed and try to create some chaos with this.
This is my favorite.
And this might also be the lag being a factor, because Link Floods against vultures are a lot stronger with a higher turn rate.
Yeah, very difficult to execute that patrol micro versus huge amounts of Zerglings if you don't have really nice turn rate. I do love this though. I'm told that I should probably learn how to beat Goliath at some point, but this is how I do it every single time, because I unironically think that there's some kind of weird thing in the code where, like, if you're not, if you're not above 1900, Goliaths are actually invincible. But yeah, I love this. It puts so much pressure on the Terran and the control. If they slip just for a little bit, you just lose all of your drones and everything like that. And a nice block on the ramp here, also denying as much of that information as possible. Yeah. So here we go. Muta's now on the field here. A good number of those lanes.
I think he's building a bunker there. Is that a bunker? Because that's kind of crucial. Yeah. Okay. Then he should be able to hold this just fine. But trutaCz, even though he made those extra links, which I think didn't really pay off, he's still in a fine position. He started his third really early, and he has Meadless out. And he's forcing quite a reaction from XuanXuan. Now
these mutas are early going to be very tanky too, so he's able to
but
get.
You do see he has finished turrets for both protecting his production buildings and his mineral lines. But some economic damage looks like he's going to be able to inflict.
Yeah, I think this is a good start. We're delaying the Goliath push by getting a couple of these early Goliaths killed. Got a decent number of SCVs killed as well. Forcing additional turrets as there's just not very much DPS right now for the Terran army to kind of clear these Mutalisks out. So the Mutalisks are actually just being super happy flying around here in the main.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. And of course, after this, we're going to kind of go to a point where the Goliaths are trying to get set up, and Zerg is trying to spend as much time getting a really big economy to fight kind of that big push out to secure the third base here. So this is a really nice way to kind of delay that timing for XuanXuan, and I'm sure trutaCz is not super upset about how his kind of lanes didn't do anything, because I think we're pretty even right now.
Yeah, I personally I prefer this position from trutaCz's point of view, because he has 10 Mutalisks, he has decent economy.
Oh my
He's in a
gosh.
position where he's very comfortable.
He is just sniping all of these Goliaths and resetting the count over and over again.
Yeah, this is a very good position for trutaCz.
Wow.
Even though he's not able to end the game in any way, then he's just resetting the count and forcing more turrets. And he has the third gas going. I think the drone count in the naturals also probably, yeah, okay, it's not great, but.
So, out of curiosity, do we have any Mutalisk upgrades on the way? I know that armor, of course, for Mutalisk is really, really very strong versus Goliath, since they have like a two-part attack here. So the armor is applied twice per shot, and then of course Mutalisk also take reduced damage from the Goliath, so that armor upgrade makes them extremely tanky. Do you expect? Does he generally play like the big 4-base huge Mutalisk flock style? Or how do you think he's going to do this?
I've seen trutaCz go like full out Mutalisk, but I've also seen him transition into Hydras and even into Queen Hydra. But I think with how he's been resetting the Goliath count, and that he knows that XuanXuan is only on 2 factories still, and that his tech is significantly delayed, I think he's just going to take a fourth. His huge seed has been droning up in the third. So I think he's going to stay on Mutalisks and continuously deal damage while growing his economy.
trutaCz.
And I think it's so
excellent.
Yeah,
his muta control and harass is so good. Look at how he just is skirting between all the turrets and not taking any damage from the Goliaths, constantly avoiding the army while doing economic damage here. Looks really good. I know you are quite a big fan of the Queen as a unit here. And I always get excited to see people using them.
and you see the trutaCz got attack, that also helps him being offensive, like especially against SVs, also against turrets. Having the +1 attack is good. He's taking a 4th hatchery without taking the natural. That lets me know that to me sounds like it's going to go move into Hydras, it last longer. But he's also just trying to kind of waste the Goliath count again. That wasn't a great trade, but yeah, you see the Hydralisk almost done. Drone count increasing. I would like to see an evolution chamber, because Hydras do need upgrades, especially attack upgrades, to fight well against Goliaths. Like if the Goliaths have 1-1 and Hydras are 0-0, then Goliaths actually trade pretty well against them. And you spoke about Queens. I'm a huge fan of the Queen unit, as anyone who knows me can attest to. But not in this precise scenario. Like you want the Queens to match the tank
Count
count.
timing, right? Yeah.
There is no point in having Queens before, or as long as he's staying on just Goliaths and pure Hydralisks. do the job just fine. Now he sees another 3 hatcheries being done in this phase. This is going to alert him that he needs to go fairly soon.
First tank out.
His 1-1 timing is done, but the Goliath count is low though. Still, he might actually be able to hit at a really dangerous timing right now, because I think trutaCz stopped building Mutalisks. And he's still building some Mutas, but his Hydralisk production has not kicked in yet. And he's bringing 2 tanks, so he's going to be able to
plus the Sunkens.
Blow down the Sunkens. Of course, trutaCz, he has enough Mutas where he can dive on the tanks to buy himself more time. I don't think he can fight the Goliath army head on, but I think he'll be able to just pick off the tanks and defend with the Sunkens, while being able to cut off any reinforcements.
This is one time where I'm a little
that they are out of position, but you see like 19 Mutas or something. That's enough to.
Oh my gosh! Look at how many turrets are going down behind this tank line, though, to help continue to defend those tanks.
But he has lost 2 of the Sunkens now, so soon the Goliaths can actually push through to the natural. And then trutaCz has to fight with the Mutalisks. So this is looking a little scary. I thought trutaCz's position was really good. Okay, I think his 1-1 has finished for the news as well.
89 is Subagosu for 14 months.
Like, if trutaCz could finish kind of 2 more rounds of Mutas and get to like 30 instead of slightly more than 20, he can comfortably engage this.
Alright, pressure's on.
I'm not sure how it's going to go. Oh, this is exciting.
This is crazy. Now the turrets are just out of range here, so it is only the Goliath army that is fighting these Mutalisks, and as you said, they do have 1-1, so they are going to perform pretty well. Mutalisks, I believe, do beat Goliaths for supply efficiency-wise, but not for cost.
No.
Oh man.
He needs to keep those turrets from finishing his round.
This is a crazy.
See that the rally point there didn't work out. Okay, oh wow! I thought trutaCz was in a great position there, but the timing for the attack was really good, and trutaCz's Mutalisks were out of position.
89 is Subagosu for 14 months. Go ZZZero, very Gosu streamer.
They weren't able to pick off the tanks, so the Sunkens essentially were just wasted money that slightly delayed the push, but they didn't contribute anything.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, you know, like, I was actually really surprised that we kind of just let those fall, because I mean, the number of Sunkens that we had at the natural expansion, that's like trutaCz having like 2.5, 3 Ultralisks on the ground almost. They do so much damage, they have a good amount of armor, so the Goliaths don't do a really great amount of damage to them. No. And they just have so much HP, they add a huge chunk of I guess, substance to that Zerg army if we pick off the 2 tanks and, you know, delay that push for a long time. You know, there would have been no way for that natural to be sieged up had the tanks been just you know, taken out right away. And there wasn't really a crazy amount of Goliaths there at the natural at the time that they arrived, so I was very surprised that we got like 5 turrets up, and then the tanks got into position, and everything went so well during that push. I mean, what do you think happened there? Was it just kind of a...
I think it was like the army being out of position was a significant, huge deal. If trutaCz had all his Mutalisks in his natural, he would just pick off those 2 tanks, and then he could do the kind of strategy of keeping the Mutalisks out on the map, trying to pick off any reinforcements.
Right.
But once the Sunkens were down, then he was forced into engaging.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was unfortunate. If he had been able to pick up the tanks, like it wouldn't have been a problem for him to sacrifice 5 Mutalisks even to kill those 2 tanks. Then he's still in a good position.
Yeah, because once those 2 tanks are gone, like how do you don't get tanks across the map because they need a huge escort or they just get picked off, right? So
exactly.
That's a big timing delay that he could have potentially pulled off. But yeah, really unfortunate timing there. trutaCz unfortunately going 0-2 in this winners match series for him, but he still of course does have a chance in the last chance match. Man, that was some weird verbal salad there going on.
XuanXuan is continuing the legacy of Chinese players in the BSL.
Yeah,
they keep performing well.
So good.
No exception here.
I think it's so cool that they've been coming out to play, and we get kind of a big injection of like really high level players that like kind of came out of nowhere. So very cool to see how good, and it's also really nice to see that he's got more than just the SCV pool in the playbook. Of course, I don't think anyone expected that a player that can only SCV rush make it this far in the bracket, but it's still great to see that like going up against like one of the absolute best Zergs in the foreign scene, he still pulls out a great macro build and does very well against these high level players in more comfortable situations for them.
Yeah. And I mean, in the game against Duck, to be fair, that was like a response to Duck's build order. He didn't blindly pull off some cheesy thing. He just saw that now there's an opportunity and I'm gonna go for it. And then he executed it really well. So good job him. And that's our first qualifier from the group and the group winner.
Alrighty, guys. So let's check with Zero. I believe we're going to be going into a break before we see the next match. Is that correct? Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for sticking around, guys, during these breaks. We really appreciate it. And of course, while you have a little time, please go ahead and check out the Bombastic shop. Get yourself something. I know that Ari here is rocking his Super Gosu shirt. I've got my hoodie over here as well. Lots of great swag to pick up over at the shop. And of course, you can always support the stream also by subscribing or checking out the Patreon. But we really appreciate you all being here and hope you guys are enjoying the cast. And we'll see you after the break. Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome back. How's it going, everyone? We are going to be going to the elimination match next. Of course, going to be Battle of the Birds with Hawk and Duck going at it. I know, right? I thought of that just like a second before we went live. I was like, let's do it.
I appreciate it. That was a good one.
It's so But we will be heading on into that match in just a moment here. I'm loving that we're getting this big rotation of all the races, though. We've seen all three races going at it right now, and of course, I think everyone really appreciates, or at least I don't know. I find Mirrors to maybe be like the least exciting outside of ZVZ, because ZVZ is like literally a knife fight in an alley when everyone's naked. I really like seeing the asymmetric matches a lot. ZVP traditionally, I think my second favorite match. Very often can, like you said, is a very dynamic match as well. You see a lot of really early wins from Zerg with Hydraless plays. You also see these gigantic, like 13 hatchery, like 4 base Protoss, 25 gateway, crazy match, like giant army smashing in the middle of the map. There's great opportunities for harassment on both sides with Mutalists and shuttles and reavers and high templars and all kinds of stuff. A very exciting matchup coming up. Again, we don't have any stats on Duck as far as how his Protoss is going to look like in this matchup.
No.
Are we still seeing proxy gates?
No, definitely not in Zerg. And going by how he approached the Zerg's Terran, then I'm actually inclined to think that he's more kind of following his own style than trying to copy Boa. And his own style as Terran was always more of this reactive macro-based play. Therefore, I'm thinking that is gonna go into some. I mean, it might be a gateway expand, of course, but gateway expand or forage expand, nothing crazy, no type of forward to gates. Hawk on his side is like as textbook as it gets. Everything is calculated. Almost never tries to end it early. I don't think I've seen him do like a lane flood ever. Which, I mean, it makes him, he's very strong at what he does. He has excellent macro. I think Zerg's Protoss is a matchup that matches his abilities more than Zerg does. So I'm thinking we're going to get a more lengthy series here.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for that insight in the matchup. Let's go ahead and head on over to Goodnight. Here we go. Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the blue Zerg, we of course have Hawk.
And in the top right, we have Canadian Protoss representing Duck. And like going by the Animal Kingdom, one of these is slightly more dangerous than the other.
I was thinking about that as well. It's true, but Hawks, can't breathe underwater, and ducks, while they can't breathe underwater, are, he could hide under the water. And that's what I would do if I was a duck fighting a hawk. I mean, that's really all you've got, right? Like, do you? Yeah, I know what you mean here, but do what you can. So I assume that when we're talking about how I'm already actually kind of flabbergasted to see a forge here. I'm not. Okay, I see how it is.
The cannon. I'm actually very surprised by the opening from Hawk, because Hawk himself states that he does not like to go hatchery first because of the threat of a cannon rush.
Yeah.
And now you see him doing hatcheries first, and you see. Oh, is he like building a pylon to block drones from jumping over before the Titans are done? This is quality stuff.
StarCraft is so magical.
Probe is going to go down. Still though, one drone is not sufficient to kill the morphing cannon. Now he's moving past with the other one. This is a full out cannon rush.
Oh my god, this is so annoying.
Yeah. The second cannon might be kept from completing, but the first one there's nothing to do about it.
Yeah, this is pretty unfortunate. I feel like we need to come together as a community to come up with a set of rules that maybe bans this or something like that. I feel like it's so illegal. As a Zerg player, it hurts my heart, man. It's so unfortunate.
Still though, the cannon has low hit points. The Hawk might be able to get this one.
Wow. Very nicely done.
And then, and is able to stop the other one also.
Wow.
Okay, this is great.
Actually, excellent for Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah, very good position for Hawk now. Even though he lost a few drones, and but he got to start his third, so he gets to kill 3 islands as well as 1 cannon, 2 probes.
Yeah, this is like a nexus and a half worth of minerals created by Duck. I mean, Duck's still on, not to say anything bad, like he certainly executed well. I really liked how he was trying to block the Zerglings from getting behind the pylon and back to that cannon. But this is a big risk taking when you talk about cannon rushing a high level Zerg like this, because this is something that you see basically from the bottom of the ladder up to high level play. So certainly something that these players have both had experience doing and being on the receiving end of. But now this is so rough for the Protoss player, right? Because you've delayed a lot of tech.
Now he's coming with 8 lanes, but the propel is perfectly timed. That was actually excellent by Duck. And he gets a Scout Hawk with his own probe. That's also significant. If Hawk had stayed home with 2 of those links, he could have blocked Duck from scouting his main and checking his gas timing.
Yeah.
Now Duck is going to be able to know that, like, what is going on, and that's a big deal, because Duck, having such a late gateway and such a late core, he wouldn't have been able to kind of reliably defend everything, scout everything with his coarser timing.
That really is the big issue for Protoss players a lot of the times on this matchup as well, is being able to see, is there a Hydralisk den building in the main right now? Do I need to throw down 2 or 3 more cannons just to be safe because I don't know what's going on? But it looks like, just like you said, Hawk is going to be playing to his strengths, just playing a super mega standard game, going 3-hatch Spire into like a 5 to 7-hatch Hydralisk mid game.
He's adding another hatchery now soon, I'm guessing, because he likes the drone play. He's really economically.
If I was Hawk, I'd be so happy to know that I dealt with this so well. He's got to be so comfortable making drones up to like 40, 45.
Yeah, definitely. Or
supply
60.
now. Yeah, even more. That's a really good point. So likely going to see just a massive mid game coming out from Hawk. How do you hedge against that as a Protoss player? Do you just sit on your 2 bases a little bit longer, get your 6 High Templars and try to make something happen later in the game, or are you going to be doing something sneaky and try to put on a little pressure?
From this position where I think Hawk got a significant advantage from the early game trade, I would be trying something kind of cheesy with some salad movement or fast drop, just some type of thing that's kind of able to deal damage, because allowing Hawk to freely macro up, get his drone count, everything going the way he wants it to progress, he's a very strong player in that scenario, and definitely not one you want to be disadvantaged from the early game build orders against. His macro and usage of his larva is consistently excellent. You can always see kind of Hawk not floating minerals, and no Spire started. That's a little surprising to me, but I guess it's just kind of relying.
I mean, you delay 450 minerals. You're gonna get the Hydralisk out in time. Not getting the Spire does, of course, eliminate some options for the mid game. The big muta switches and stuff like that we've seen Zergsby.
But at the same time, you also see he took his mineral only, so he wouldn't have access to 3 gas anyway. That does make the mass Hydra play a bit more consistent. Still, I'm kind of expecting Hawk to go into both Lurker and taking a 4th.
Doug doing a good job maintaining as much vision as possible here in this game. I mean, he had a probe active on the map the entire time. He's now seeing kind of the tech choices coming out with his Corsairs here. But it doesn't look like he's really, trying to find any kind of advantage. Playing a standard game in this position sounds like it's going to be really rough. Look at the economy already from Hawk. He's got very little fighting units on the map, just enough to deter any kind of annoying Corsair stuff. And we've just been pumping drones. Now, we do have a pretty big Zealot move out coming over here. But, I mean, with this many hatcheries...
Those kind of 3, that actually is kind of a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Very sick. I mean, that's... What, like 18% of his army right there that he just lost to just a couple of links. Oh my gosh, and look at the Hydra numbers already.
Looks like the Hydra count is more than big enough to hold this with no problem. The supply count is, I mean, even though Duck is 10 supply ahead, that favors Zerg when the game is looking like this. Hydras are only 1 supply against 2 for the Zealots, and 6 hatchery production against 4 gateway production. Duck has to transition into Templars, and taking a 3rd, he's not going to be able to deal any significant damage with the Zealot attacks, I think. Yeah, Hawk is also very good at reacting properly, moving his army in good defensive positions.
I'm sure it'll be honestly difficult to even just take that 3rd. I mean, the amount of production that Hawk has right now is ludicrous. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries now. This is kind of like the time where you get just a few more drones going, and then you just make non-stop Hydralisks and control the map. And we don't even have a 3rd started yet. We're still struggling to get an army that could contest these Hydralisks in an ideal situation.
Does Hawk have a Spire going? Can we see if he does? Because now he was floating some gas, and I'm wondering if that's him going into Lurker or Spire. No Spire, so no muta split. Yeah.
Oh man, this is a tough situation. I'd feel very pinched down right now.
Yeah,
Look
and
at
now
all
you see
these drones on the map.
His hatchery count is so crazy that he instantly
Oh
saturates
my gosh.
his third. So now he's basically going to be on 4 base economy against 2. If
This
Hawk
is so
just
funny.
builds lurkers now and holds, he's in a commanding position.
Yeah, this is where, as a Zerg, you just feel like you have literally unlimited money. Like you just, you can spend as much as you want. You can throw Hydralisks kind of wherever you want. It's more than you can really effectively control by, you know.
I'm
at
guessing he
one
has
time.
started some lurkers now, yeah, because his gas went down. I don't think he's...
Yeah, Zealot's famously not too great versus Lurkers, unfortunately.
He also doesn't have any observers with his army, so
And-
this is just... I mean, I do like that he's going out with the Solid Templar army, but it
Yeah.
is kind of looking a little futile.
He needs to put the pressure on, but it's dude, Hawk's army control is so good too. He forced out all of the storms before any real significant engagements came out as well. So essentially, Duck is completely out of tools to make any kind of impactful changes on the map right now. He has to just go home. He's got a bunch of punchy dudes with their little pointy knives on their wrists, and that's pretty much all he's got.
Yeah, I mean, he has a slight upgrade advantage, but it's not sufficient enough to make up for the deficit in army and economy. Definitely looking very good for Hawk at the moment.
All right. Well, Hawk now getting in position to counterattack and deny this third. And look at the
Or just kill him. I
ridiculous.
think he might just kill him, because he doesn't have a lot of storm, doesn't have a good army. I mean, maybe Hawk doesn't actually commit to attacking, but if he does, then he will win now.
Well, those 2 cannons at the
Not bad.
natural.
Cannons are strong, but
Yeah.
the
Not so
armies-
great versus this
Yeah.
many Zerg units.
No Templars. This is game. Very convincing by Hawk, but the early game cannon rush, like it was just a failure, killing
Yeah.
2 drones and forcing out Zerglings, while investing into 3 pylons and 2 cannons to finish.
Yeah, it was like 525 minerals or something like that
So
for almost nothing. So a little unfortunate for Duck at the start of the series, but you know, sometimes you take the risk and it doesn't pay off. I still respect people who do
for
try
sure.
to remain dangerous and remain unpredictable, though.
Now he's gonna try to go into 8-gate production, but I mean the lurker contain is huge and already established. Hawk has 3 gas, so he can reinforce it faster than Duck can reinforce his army. And he doesn't even have any Templars. Like if Duck had like 4 Templars with 6 Storm or whatever, he could get some type of magic engagement where he kills 40 Hydras with Storm and then commits an attack right after. Now I see no real way for him to bring this back. 50
curiosity
for Hawk,
that.
or 40 at least.
He's saying this isn't Duck, this is foie gras. It's very sad. I love when BSL caster just laying into Duck in his moment of weakness. Duck's like on the floor, he's holding his kidney. Seriosity just kicks him in the side. Very rude.
That's Goose though, to be fair. But
Yeah. Well, you know, that was game number 1.
game number 1, convincing for Hawk. Very solid play.
We'll have to see how the decision making goes in the early game number 2. Hopefully not another botched cannon rush, and maybe see a little bit more of equal footing going on in the mid game. Kind of hard to really take too much away from that type of game. Like, not to say that Hawk didn't look great, you know, or it wasn't a convincing victory, but it's just like when the game gets basically written in the first couple of minutes, you know, you can only comment so much on the decision making after that point in the game, especially in ZVP, where once Protoss is on the back foot, there's very few options for them until they've gotten like their drops and their storms and everything to make a big impact on the map. So overall, though, I'm looking forward to seeing game number 2. But I wouldn't be super surprised if this next one is super convincing either, because as you said, Hawk is quite the ZVP sniper.
Yeah, like Hawk has been doing very well in CVP. His statistic is not that impressive in BSL. It's like 44%, but he has played against Bonnet on several occasions.
So we have a question in the chat. Wasn't Duck a Terran player? Yeah, it was actually funny. We were talking about that earlier. But it seems that he has recently made the transition over to be Protoss. So, I mean, how much do you think his inexperience as a Protoss player has really been affecting this? Or do you think that, like his performance so far, do you think it's really a big influencer, or is it just that he's been having rough matches?
No, I think in the first game, his micro was like unfortunate on a couple key occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Impossible to really say anything from that. Second game, I thought the cannon rush was actually really well executed with how he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like he had practiced it. Timing was good, but Hawk's defense was also very solid, which I'm a little surprised by, because I've seen Hawk kind of argue against going hatchery first, specifically because he's not comfortable facing cannon rushes. So I thought it was going to deal more damage than it did. I mean, I don't know how much he has played Protoss or how long he has been a Protoss, so I can't really comment on how inexperienced he is in the matchup either.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like his mechanics. I mean, he had like 300, 400 APM most of this game, but he still was floating quite some minerals at some point, so
we just don't have the sample size, I guess. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Turbine, okay, this should be good. Even though the statistics are again non-existent, it's the first time we're seeing it in BSL.
Nobody ever wins on this match, guys. 0%. Everyone loses. Everyone goes home upset. It's a really rough one for us, but we're gonna go play on it. I really would like to see a longer game and a more even game, so we can get a clear understanding of like where Duck is with Protoss, because as you said, just don't have any real good insight into how he would play on a more normal game, because so far the first 2 games that we've seen have just been basically, you wash your hands of that and you move on. So hopefully we see a nice demonstration of kind of his more standard ability, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's go ahead and hop right on in.
Yeah, even though just comment on the map, even though it's a map with no statistics on it, I'm inclined to think that Protoss is favored here.
Alrighty,
okay, he did not know about the creep.
Interesting.
Is that also for Protoss? No. Oh, okay, only for Zerg. Yeah, that's Protoss doesn't have to like eliminate creep in their base before they can do stuff.
Alrighty, well, in the top left-hand corner, spawning as the red Zerg, we of course have Hawk.
And in the top right corner, spawning as Protoss, Duck fighting for his life. This might be his last BSL game of the season, or hopefully for him, he can bring it back and give us a real series. I'm inclined to think that this map favors Protoss, because you do have this really easy access to a fast nexus in your main, and it allows you to go into faster Corsair than you can on normal maps, because you can actually skip the forge entirely. You can go 1 gate nexus and stay and just comfortably go cybernetics core before forge, which on normal maps is often somewhat risky. The Zerg at the same time also gets in a very comfortable position. Like, while I was a little bit surprised to see Hawk open with a hatchery first on Good Night, it's perfectly expected for him to go 12 hatch on Turbine. Yeah,
it is quite an interesting map layout. I am glad though that we do have the concession with no creep at the Protoss base, because that would be pretty ridiculous to not be able to wall at the front of the map. Of course, if this was STPL, there'd be like 6 other Chrysalises all over the map and everything as well. As Kix does have a a tendency to pick maps that are just horrific. Yeah,
God bless
this
his
is
soul.
so interesting. The one thing about Kix though, and the reason why I like seeing maps like this is I love seeing high-level players figure out stuff like this, things that throw you a curveball, things that maybe offer you different ways of playing the game. It's always been really interesting. I know we had like back at the Remastered launch some very sussy map pools with island maps and stuff making their way in. But this is great. I love to see this. I love to be surprised by the game and the way that the maps are played out. So very excited to see how this turns out.
You see that the sellout is coming a little bit earlier than Hawk was hoping, because now he has to pull drones for a bit. Yeah. That is some economic damage. But if he's able to kind of get the sellout, get the pull, then I think he's comfortable. As long as he doesn't lose any drones, then it's quite alright. But
yeah,
like this drone pull does hinder his third. You can see the third hatchery has not yet started.
It was a very nice drone drill, though.
My bad, but it was a little late anyway. Like he would have preferred to start the third, like, I don't know, 10 seconds, 20 seconds earlier.
Mineral line on this map too, not super conducive to getting that zealot right in those little spots where you can have the probe behind and everything like that. So the zealot doesn't do too much. The drone drilling though is so annoying when you have to deal with that. Being thrown off when you're like a big heavy like macro player like that, that's gotta drive you insane, man. I don't know how Hawk feels about it, but I always hate having things put off by a couple of seconds and then having to refactor your entire build order in your head as you go along.
But as you can see, Duck has so far skipped the forge, getting a fast record, and Hawk taking the third that it took. That really signals his plans for this game, because when he's trying to take the other main, at least to me, that really indicates that he's going for or to play a longer game. Yeah. Still, he's going for a pretty quick Hydro Dam before he's adding a fourth hatchery. Which, like, I don't think he can really apply pressure on this map, but he also wouldn't be able to get out Mutalisks in time for holding the slightly faster Corsair. Now Duck sees that he's transferring drones. I'm not sure whether Hawk or whether Duck knows where the third placement is, if he scouted it. I don't think so, because he's trying to look for it.
Alrighty. Well, Zealots are going to be heading towards the main now. The ramps on this map are crazy tight, though. They are really small without getting rid of those creep colonies, and so it doesn't seem like it'd be really big deal to keep Zealots out of either of these bases. Just a couple of units going to be able to choke them up really bad here, and man, getting on 4 bases like this, super comfortable, feels really nice. For Protoss, of course, they do have that natural third right out front of that ramp, but it is, I believe, it's mineral only, is it not? Yeah,
that was mineral only, but he also has like a fairly easy third gas that he can take at 12:05 o'clock or whatever.
This is wild.
This map really does kind of favor economy-based play and allows both players to be greedy. This is part why I like the kind of setup with the double in base. If this setup kind of continues, then Hawk has access to more bases in the long term. But still, his drone count isn't as big as you might have expected it to be. You saw that he had to start producing Hydras while he was still only on 3 hatcheries, without being able to apply any pressure with them, just kind of as a defensive measure. And it's not perfectly ideal. I would say the early game so far looks good for Duck. You can also see it reflected in the supply count. Last game, when Duck had 68 supply, Hawk was sitting at 58, and he had like a really comfortable drone count. This game, Duck is 20 supply ahead. Still, I don't think it can apply pressure to either the main or the second, because Hydra's on a ramp with this tight opening, we should definitely be able to hold. Hawk is also very good at drone drilling together with his Hydras to be able to kind of hold shenanigans of this sort. So I kind of would have preferred Duck to use his salad count to take a faster third than to just accelerate it like this, because I don't think he's going to deal real damage with it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Because I mean, this push, while normally you're trying to put pressure on like the third base of the Zerg to keep them from just going berserk into like the mid game here, like there's almost nothing that these zealots could possibly accomplish here, right? Like, look at the there's like a 1 zealot hole or like a 2 zealot hole at the top of that ramp, and you just shove your units right there, and they can't do anything.
No.
So I mean, I feel like
there's no chance.
Yeah. So, like, how do you feel about the agency that this affords a Zerg player? Like, I mean, like two lurkers at the top of that ramp will hold an infinite number of zealots, and that means that Zerg's army is free to not only not have to defend these bases, like where you would normally see some kind of like wall and a ton of zealots, or a ton of hydralisks and sunkens, everything like that. You can leave a couple of lurkers at home, and the army can get on the map. And on top of that, I think it also really allows you to focus your defenses more at your satellite bases, like your fits.
Okay, now you see that actually responding with taking a third. Honestly, I would have liked to see him take a fourth as well. He can afford that now. He can see that Hawk's his coursers have been active. They have seen his lair timing. It's a late lair, or I think he at least saw the absence of a lair, which is as good as seeing that full timing. And therefore, he should be comfortable, in my opinion.
Ooh,
Just
I like this.
Jumping in. Yeah, I also like this. No Overlord in the main base that is taken.
All right, it's time for
At
the
least
invisible
if
boys to
the-
hop in.
I wonder if it's bringing the 2 zealots right away, or if it's just DTs at first. If he only goes with the DTs now, he can get some drone snipes before Hawk notices, but if he brings the zealots, then he's immediately told that it's happening. Okay, he's bringing all the
Oh,
zealots.
he's elevating the whole army in. Oh my gosh, this is cool.
Yeah, this is cool. What's the Hydra count like? Okay, I think this is gonna work.
Yeah, like 10, 12 maybe. I know there's a little bit more than that, but even still, fighting without those sunkens.
Still though, with good drone pulls with the Hydras here, he can hold it. Because like he does have 12 Hydras or whatever, 12 Hydras with drone support can fight an equal counter salad. But now you see that he's losing some Hydras right away and he's losing some drone.
A
This
very
is big
middling
damage
response.
for sure.
I think Hawk feels committed to holding a ramp just in case there's units outside of his base that will gonna want to run up if he moves the Hydras out. But this is like the dream scenario where he only sends like a half an army to go fight this gigantic army. And look at this.
This is big damage for sure. Now Hawk is trying to send reinforcements, but they're actually Templars. Oh,
man.
the storm. Okay, the storms are whiffs. But still, I think the zealots and the engagement, you see Hawk's supply completely plummeted.
I'm actually surprised we're not
very
just
bad
choking
for
up the
Hawk right
ramp and killing the hatcheries at this point.
Oh, he cancelled? Did he accidentally attack his own nexus? Wow,
Oh my gosh.
Big deal.
Duck's
At least
units once
if
again
the
turning
game-
against him.
Yeah, this is like a way for Duck to give Hawk a fighting chance, but I still don't see it happening because there's so much damage. And there are like no overlords. What happened with all the overlords? Is he gonna be able to kill the Souths now for some reason?
What is going on?
Maybe. Have you been changing player views, Zero? Yeah, it actually looks broken to me now. Yeah. Okay, well, we actually did get the results point. I think it broke at a very late time, so it didn't really influence anything, but maybe Duck didn't actually kill his own Nexus.
Could you imagine, though, if he did, and then Hawk just GG'd anyways? That would have been very surprising.
Well, even if
he doesn't have that information, though, so
it didn't make the difference. Hawk was dead either way.
Oh, man. Elevator strategy. That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, the elevator really worked. I think if Hawk kind of had an Overlord better positioned, so he could respond a little faster and have his army more together, he could have held. It wasn't perfectly controlled by him.
I thought it was interesting that his, I think it was his fifth hatchery was positioned in the bottom left instead of in the bottom right of that, because the bottom left is clearly not an attack avenue unless you're going really down the center of the map and then kind of hooking through around the back of that expansion, and that seems very difficult with good Overlord position to execute. So I mean, if we had the macro hatch just in the other corner of that base, that would have not worked at all, which is very, very surprising that we had the positioning there and kind of like a passive position where it doesn't really serve any kind of purpose there.
Yeah, it was just like slightly bad response in terms of how he was controlling his drone Hydra army, I think.
Yeah, it was to be fair though, I think it's very understandable to want to keep that Hydra army at the top of the ramp and not necessarily get rammed from both sides. But yeah, when you see a huge number of zealots coming in your base, you got to send more than 4 Hydras, because I think it was like a really small number of Hydras that initially responded to that push, and they got instantly deleted.
Yeah, so good job by Duck. He brings it back, and we have a deciding game, or a real deciding game. That's always exciting, of course. Not or disappointing for Hawk, I'm sure, but for us as casters and viewers, this is excellent.
I would say
I wonder what the final
for
map's
Hawk
gonna be.
too, in a way that he didn't prefer it to be. But man, I am kind of surprised that the Nexus death was real, though. Pretty surprising thing to happen. To be honest.
Yeah, I guess it was busy with all the other action. It made no difference.
Alrighty. And then, so sorry, what was the map that we're heading to next?
Butter. Okay, that from what I saw in the spawn bank list was really balanced. Okay, not that many games, only 88, but Surge's Protoss is standing at 44-44. So equal wins in the Korean pro scene. That makes it slightly good for Protoss against Zerg, probably, for outside Korea, because most maps slightly favor Zerg in this matchup. It's a very exciting map, I think. I haven't really had the chance to play it myself yet. And this is the first CVP we see in the BSL. So, yeah.
I certainly love the look of it. And what a funny name too. Normally you get something crazy like it'd be like Zelnaga Starport. This guy's he's just like sitting there making a map. He's like, man, I wish I had some butter to go with this toast that I'm eating. He's like, you know what? That's what we're calling it. That's the name. Like, I don't know how you decide on butter, but I don't know. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, and then, like even though I've been around the scene forever, I actually don't know the etymology of the word kind of cheese for describing a cheesy strategy. I don't know why the word cheese was chosen, but maybe butter should have like some similar type of meaning attached to it.
What would you?
Well, something slippery.
Yeah, real smooth, like a
smooth
real,
and slippery.
just a perfect smooth
Yeah.
macro win. Like you just make your units and just win. It's a butter win, dude. Alrighty, guys. Well, it looks like we're ready to go ahead and hop on into the game. So here we go.
Maybe it's like ultra-disc rushing. Big, heavy, tanky units.
Alrighty. Well, in the top right-hand corner, bringing it back, we have Duck as the blue Protoss.
And in the bottom right corner, Hawk also. And this is the elimination match, like the real elimination match. The loser has to go home. The winner gets to fight against trutaCz to see who gets the second place from the group, or second advancing place.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see this game. More than anything else, if we're gonna see Duck's units not betray him this time. It's been 2 out of 3 so far. If his units don't rise up against him again, I think that he certainly put on a good show last game. He showed that he has a good mind for thinking.
Is this the gateway or a forge?
Strategy?
Gateway.
Okay.
That looks like a gateway, right? Okay, and pull first. Yeah, okay.
Nice. Pretty standard
Perfectly
stuff.
standard. Yeah.
But yeah, Duck has just been getting all kinds of weird stuff happening to him. I just wanted to wish him a little good luck here this time, and maybe we have his units not kill his own stuff this time.
I think he has been really sellout heavy so far. And kind of late Templars and not that high on the Templar cap. I think maybe he's skipping or delaying the second gas quite a bit. But otherwise, it's very standard play, standard approaches in general. Okay, Hawk manages to place his third, so he doesn't have to use the second drone he ran out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting actually. Normally when I
like
see
he's
players
changing.
go for the gateway first, you try a little bit to delay that natural expansion as much as possible, because you know that they're, when they go pool first in order to deal with this type of stuff, delaying the additional larva can be really nice, slow the economy down for the Zerg a little bit, but didn't seem like a very big commitment at all to keeping that natural from starting.
Yeah, I also kind of thought he would try to delay it a little bit. Okay, so you saw Hawk kind of trying to, or maybe change his mind regarding which base he was taking first, but now he's back to his original plan. Duck moves slightly back with one zealot. I guess he's thinking Hawk is going to do a run by now. This is smart. I really like this.
Yeah, 4 Zealot's not going to really be able to accomplish too much versus the very tanky
very good
buildings.
positioning, very good control. Links are in the base, but they are hurt a bit. So I don't think this is gonna do too much. Of course, 3 Zerglings in the base can still be annoying, but one of them is only 1 hit from dying. Okay, you see the counter with the 2 Zealots.
Here we go.
Hawk is
Oh,
probably gonna deal with this just fine, I think.
That
Because
probe
it
just
should
got out of
also-
there. Perfect
yeah.
timing.
You should kind of see that, okay, there's only one Zealot following my lanes. He only has 4. These things.
Ooh, 1 probe goes down, but that's for 2 Zerglings, and so this is essentially over. Like, when you have 1 Zergling, you can basically just watch the timing on the tech and stuff like that. Meanwhile, not too much happening with the Zealots. It looked like, Duck was trying to get behind the mineral line there in position for something annoying, but they're just going to go ahead and poke it at third, and once a couple more Zerglings spawn, should be pretty much well taken care of here. Although there is like a little bit of a little spot there that you can kind of get in and kind of annoy this and force some more Zerglings out and be annoying, delaying the mining here at this third.
See 3 more zealots.
Ooh, this is a okay.
Still, I think Hawk is like the third hasn't taken much damage, so he's gonna be able to hold this.
Yeah, and he does have vision there at the natural expansion, so it's like it's not like he's being surprised by a whole bunch of
okay.
zealots
This might be a dangerous counter.
Oh my gosh.
Duck has no forge completing his wall in.
Yeah, this is
Hawk
wild.
is making a lot of links now. Okay, I think Duck is gonna fall here. Zealots or link speed's done. I wonder why he didn't make a wall in here.
Yeah, the forge and the
why is neither forge or cybernetic score in his wall in? That seems to be a crucial mistake, which is costing him now.
Yeah, I mean,
only one. Yeah. This is just game.
That is very unfortunate.
I think this was too greedy, and he kind of forced Hawk into making enough links to kill him.
Yeah, it was, that's actually really a funny way of putting it. Yeah, because the ridiculous amount of zealot pressure that was coming across the map forced, Hawk to make a whole bunch of Zerglings, and the fact that there was no wall was kind of ridiculous at that point. I think there might not have been pylon coverage at the front of the map there. I think
he made a second pylon in a way that would easily make him able to make the wall.
Yeah, I think it was just very strange. I don't know what to say. It's so normal to put. It's not like it's a weird thing to make a wall, right? Like it's 100% the way to play that matchup. So okay, well there it goes.
Okay. Well, then we get another Circle game, and Hawk has a chance to redeem himself. Going up against trutaCz again. I think. Even though I prefer watching Protoss versus Circle versus Third, then this still kind of feels like the proper deciding match to me.
All right, and then are we going to do a break before we head on into this next matchup?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, we will be back in just a little bit then. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys are enjoying the cast so far. Really appreciate you joining me, Drone, today and doing this cast with me. And of course, guys, please make sure to check out the Patreon and maybe consider subscribing to the channel and check out the BSL shop, because we always want to be supporting our foreign StarCraft content creators. So thank you so much to Zero for keeping BSL going and being the premier tournament organizer in the StarCraft scene. We'll see you after the break. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back after that very quick break. I'm sure you appreciate how fast Zero is with the hands, man. He goes from professional StarCraft player right into being a professional production man. What would you, a production person? Whatever. Anyways, if you guys, I just want to shout out real quick. If you guys have been having a good time here with the cast and enjoying the show, please check out tomorrow. We also have some other BSL content, including they're coming down the pipeline. There is a show match going to be starting at 3 in the morning for me, but check the Team Liquid calendar to figure out what time it is for you. I'm sure I'll still be awake desperately, Googling like Mandela effect, having some weird breakdown after going through YouTube shorts, as you do at 3 in the morning. But yeah, check that out, guys. It'll be Sen versus Legionnaire, so it should be really awesome content that's going to be happening tomorrow. But yeah, I'm looking very much forward to seeing another ZVZ, giving Hawk another chance at the champ, Gonna be very, it's gonna be a ZVZ. It's gonna be disgusting. Someone's gonna get killed with like 5 units, and that's how ZVZ is.
Well, we did see a very exciting series between Avilov and Crossy last weekend. I don't think we're gonna see the same thing now, because neither of these players are Avilov. So there's most likely no Hydralisk shenanigans happening.
Man, Hydra ZVZ. If there wasn't a
it
bigger
really
meme,
makes for amazing games.
it
It's
is
like,
so cool to watch, and you never see it.
both me and him tend to favor it, but that's partially or largely because we don't really have confidence in our own Mutalisk against Scotch Micro.
Oh no.
Both of these players have excellent Mutalisk Micro, and I mean Hydralisks in general, even though there are like some scenarios where you can make it work really well, in general it is inferior. There is a reason why you like see it less than 1% of the time between actual pro gamers.
There is something to be said though for the psychological effect of losing to Hydra ZVZ.
Sure.
And just like most people just don't play against it. So I mean, I think there's certainly reasons to do it. But I know what you mean. It's certainly not the optimal ZVZ strategy. So
Yeah.
with that being said, let's go ahead and head right back over to Butter as
Okay.
we get into
Let's go.
this.
Good luck to both. I really wonder what build orders we're going to see now. Okay, introduce the player, please.
Alrighty, in the top right-hand corner, spawning as the Blue Zerg, coming off a win in their last series, we have trutaCz.
And in the bottom right, we have Hawk, trying to redeem himself after losing the first game against trutaCz. I think trutaCz is... or Hawk. Oh, okay, they're going to remake. Then we get to speak a little bit more. I think Hawk is slightly disappointed that trutaCz ended up winning against, ended up losing against XuanXuan. He probably would have preferred Sorghum's Terran instead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite certain about it. But I wonder how it's going to kind of respond build otherwise, because I think that his choice of build in game 1 was something he had kind of prepared for a best of 1 against Twitch. Now that it's a best of 3, it's like I wonder what his approach is going to be. If it's just gonna 12 pool and try to play kind of a straight up game, or
Yeah, I mean, that's a good
One
point. Like, ZVZ's certainly not his best matchup, as we can see statistically from his player profile. So I am very interested. This has got to be something that it just wasn't in the playbook. So
yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, let's go ahead and hop on into it and see what the choices are. Here we go. All right. Whoa. And we've switched everything. So in the top right-hand corner now, as the Blue Zerg, we have Hawk instead.
And in the bottom right corner, we have trutaCz.
All right. Oh, man. That was confusing. I was like, what happened here? Anyways, 2-player map, though. At least it wasn't like a whole bunch of different positions, so we're all set there. But 2-player map ZVZ, I like it. You know, there's never the scouting problem where, like, you get first scout and you have no information because your overlord's just over in the bottom corner, like, doing absolutely nothing useful. So this is always where you get like the fairest matches. I do think though this clearly plays, you know, quite well into trutaCz's hands as kind of like the ZVZ king when we're talking about this matchup here. Looks like we have of course just a normal like a 9 full speed coming out here of trutaCz. And then we will go ahead and check out the build order for Hawk in a second here.
Okay, Hawk is 12 pulling. I really like this. I think that's, because trutaCz is likely to open 9 pull, and 12 pull does have a slight.
My fleeting dream is sub a Gosu for 7 months.
Yeah, so I mean that's a really good call, especially on a 2-player map too. I think that there's a good chance that 12 hatch is probably not in the cards for trutaCz unless he's getting like really 500 IQ trying to like really out meta Hawk. And I think when you're the stronger player, at least or in this matchup, you don't really feel the need to make those type of meta plays, you know what I mean? So great build order call here. But at this high level, these build order advantages certainly count for something, but certainly not anywhere near,
No.
as much, because it really comes down to control.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Hawk is going to get a faster natural, but trutaCz's lair is going to be significantly faster. I wonder if I think Hawk started the. Did he start speed?
Ooh.
Not sure. You see that he pulled off drones from gas, or he's only mining with one, I think, looks like.
Well, we do have the one drone here to help try to make the difference in the fight here. You've got all of your brawlers up front, the Zerglings, and then you got the drone in the back with the Gat just like taking pot shots. But overall, this is... I find it kind of interesting, honestly, to pull the drone. Is it really necessary when you've got the build order advantage here?
I think it would have been fine without it, but I see why it doesn't. Yeah. So Hawk definitely started speed first. You can see by the gas going all the way down to 0.
Alrighty. And trutaCz, interestingly, just going, or I guess not interestingly, I guess this sunken's like totally normal, because you do have the potentiality for a large Zergling counterattack here that can really either end you or delay your Mutalisks a whole lot. I mean, this is a very uneventful start to this matchup. No crazy things going on right now. But going into this mid game here with the natural expansion up with essentially no economic losses other than having to pull a drone really quickly is pretty nice here for Hawk, as he will have the second gas to go into Mutalisks with a very large number of muta count.
Yeah, compared to the first game, I prefer Hawk's position in this one. I think trutaCz started his hatchery a little later. I'm not sure, but I think he actually started the hatchery before the sunken in the first game. That makes a difference. And Hawk has his natural, not just 2 hatches in his main. So for him in this game, going into spores to defend is like way more plausible of a strategy and choice. And
as a matter of fact, there's that Evo.
There's the Evo.
He is forced into this, right?
So I'm guessing. Okay, he didn't start Mutas. He started more links. That and links. Muted Alpha, I guess.
Yeah.
To just build Mutas here.
Yeah, I mean, like, so trutaCz's only real big advantage here right now is going to be the timing on his Spire, right? Because Hawk went for speed before he went lair. So his Spire timing is going to be significantly delayed. So it is important that his Mutalisks get out on the map and start affecting kind of the pace of this game.
Well, like actually, you can see that he forced spores without having to build mutas. So now he can take his own natural much faster. Even though it's like not a play I would have done myself, I think he. Oh, and that's a bad engage by Hawk. Like he had the Ling advantage there, but. Yeah,
An
like
excellent
that could have ended with Hawk having like 10 links left over instead of 8. And trutaCz is able to deal more damage with the Zerglings. So Hawk
getting
is like
damage on that spore is really nice there at the natural expansion. That is gonna die!
That's really unfortunate for Hawk, because he basically built 4 spore colonies that gave him, well, nothing so far.
Yeah, and his natural
Hawk
expansion.
even killing overlords with the Scourge. That's a fair play, but the drone count is way lower than what you expect it to be at this point. He even has a drone at disadvantage, even though he went into 12 pool against 9 pool. So once again, I think trutaCz got a really solid early game lead.
Well, the mutas are being forced back to the main, and we are keeping trutaCz supply block for a very long time, so the muta count isn't stacking up quite as fast or being able to have too much agency out on the map. We still don't have a replacement spore though for the natural spore that's guarding the mineral line. Once trutaCz is able to kind of like stabilize here and get his mutas across the map and do what he wants to, I feel like that natural expansion is not going to be able to count for very much for quite a while.
Yeah, and the spore is slowly close. Should also fall, I think.
Yeah, it'll probably die to bounces here.
Yeah. Now you can really see trutaCz's Middlewist micro, which is excellent against Scourge. Like, he tends to just take no hits at all.
Oh no, we have Scourge trying to chase down other Scourge here. That's always a difficult thing to do.
Trying to get the Overlord it's a little cute, but I don't think it's paying off.
Yeah, I've seen people go like +1 Ling and then just make Scourge Zergling and try to overwhelm their opponents. And
okay,
big Scourge hit
good.
though.
Yeah. Okay, if he gets like a few more of those, something pattern maybe. He doesn't have any something in his main, only spores. The circling move by trutaCz, just skipping mutas, only building Inspire so fast to force out spore colonies while going into a circling club. Really big up.
Yeah, trutaCz is really running circles around Hawk right now. As you can see, even without having that early economic advantage, he's still quite ahead in supply count right now. Hawk is really just being kind of run around the map here and not able to accomplish really anything here. We have essentially nothing mining at the natural expansion, not even able to fully saturate that gas because the mineral economy won't be able to stay up with it. And Hawk is really losing out. Even running those drones around for a short period of time there is extremely impactful when you only have a couple of drones on the map to begin with.
Yeah. Still though, Hawk did actually manage to kill some mutas with his Scourge, and that's good for him. And trutaCz's natural gas is later than Hawk's natural gas, so it could be that like if they both manage to stabilize in some way, then maybe Hawk's mutalist count can be competitive. But it feels like he's still just a little bit too low on minerals to even be able to fully produce mutas from both batteries.
Yeah, and that's such a significant problem for him too, because he's been producing Scourge this entire time, so he doesn't have a really particularly strong anti-ground force. And as we have trutaCz's economy continue to scale up, he does have a third hatchery, so he can produce off of 2 hatcheries, mutaless, and then use his additional spare minerals to continue to put pressure on via the ground game with the Zerglings. And that's eventually going to run Hawk out completely out of resources. And we don't have that many mutas. Like, how do you even deal with a bunch of Zerglings coming across the map? It's very difficult at this point.
Yeah, or he can just continue to drone up, which seems to be what he's favoring doing. Like, he can just play defensively with his own mutalist and Scourge while droning. But okay, this attack, it's gonna come down to the control here, because I don't think trutaCz actually has Zerglings. So he is relying on his mutas to hold, and okay, he's definitely overdrawn.
Okay, here we go.
This is a little scared for him.
This is the Rise of Valkyries moment here. Yeah, the Zerglings are getting into this natural expansion, doing tons of damage. Mutas running for their lives as a bunch of Suicide Bomber Scourge come after them. And we have done a ton of damage here. The Muta's now having to choose between fighting off the Mutalists of Hawk and going after these Zerglings. Now the Sunken in the main doing some work there. Really doing the crisis mode management there, stopping the Zerglings from getting on top of those drones here. That was a pretty excellent outcome.
That was a very good attack by Hawk, but still now they are kind of restabilizing, and trutaCz still has the 15 supply lead. Hawk was kind of balancing out his mineral income by not mining gas in his main for a little while.
Hawk still does have the pseudo advantage of having spores at home, though. We can still play like we played the last game of that series, where he decides to try and rely on his spores to minimize damage back at home and do a all-in type of backstab at trutaCz's base. It is really not looking great for him, though. The drone count has not refused to climb, essentially. And this entire time, trutaCz has just been sneaking in a drone here, a drone there, and it's really being able to ramp his economy up. Look at all that money that that trutaCz is constantly able to generate while under this threat of huge attack.
I think now he's probably even like getting noticed of Hawk's drone count. And then he knows that he's going to win this or become in a more advantageous position the longer the game lasts.
Yeah,
So I expect trutaCz to just be defensive here and concentrate on not taking any damage.
I don't think trutaCz can be certain of the lack of Scourge, but I mean he's just got such an unbelievably large army right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go in and
Okay, he's just pulling the links now, but
oh my god, that's so
a
many
lot of links. That's a lot of links.
We
I
even
thought it
need
was
the
going to
mutas.
just take a third instead, but this is fine. It's gonna win.
Alrighty. Well,
The air against air battle is going fine for Hawk, I guess, fine-ish, but then there's like 20 links in his bane.
yeah, it's all it's
no sense in
basically
him losing the
irrelevant.
Spire, so this game is over. But
Not for nothing. He played
Hawk
pretty darn
made some
good.
good decisions. It's just it didn't have a good response to the circling switch from the trutaCz. Very good.
Alrighty, well, we should be seeing MVP anytime soon here. Like, there's, man, I feel badly for Hawk, because it is very unfortunate that in the matchup that eliminates him, he has to play another ZVZ, which is clearly not his most preferred matchup. But I mean, he's been playing
against
admirably.
one of the top CVC players. I mean, I think I'm not sure whether Cheeky or trutaCz is the kind of top dog, but it's one of those two.
Yeah.
But that holds the title of best CVC in.
There we go. And this is kind of the last gap here from Hawk coming in. Big Scourge attack. Oh, what in the world is happening? Okay, there's so many mutas. I thought he got all over that, but the mute is still losing.
Really good. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. And GG, very nice mannered end to a very well played game there. Not for nothing, Hawk has just been playing really well. The decisions that he's making, stuff like that, I think are probably like the best game plan that like I could come up with for him. Like, he's certainly trying to play to his strengths. He knows the deficiency between him and trutaCz's control and stuff like that. So he's making intelligent build order decisions based on that, and really trying to eke out some kind of advantage strategically. But after that game, that was not a game where I was surprised by anything. I don't think anything crazy happened to Hawk that like threw him off at all. trutaCz just played a really clean game. And I think that's kind of a butter win, man.
Well, I wouldn't say it was cheesy, but personally, I was surprised by the choice to not make the initial 3 Mutalisks, and that really paid off for trutaCz. It's not like as if I had been Hawk in this game, I would have expected there to come mutas that forced me to score, but instead he just completely skipped him for a little while to get both more damage done with his circuits and force out spores while he took a much faster effect. It was a really excellent decision.
Yeah, those Zerglings really did actually do a great job. They did the economic damage, they weakened the defenses, the static defenses at the natural expansion, which set him up for better muta plays later on as well. You're totally correct. I almost completely forgot about this decision actually, because I don't know, we're just watching Hawk go in with these big Scourge muta attacks, and I almost thought that he did something there towards the late game when we had to evacuate the natural expansion. So quite a surprising game as it turned out.
But I think this is exactly the type of decision making that makes trutaCz such a good service player. That he knows this kind of stuff. That he knows that Hawk is going to respond with spores because of how the build orders went. Like if Hawk did like some type of Zelensky play and just skipped, that means big boys, just completely skipped spores, which normally would have been like a big mistake, he would have probably ended up winning this game. Like, it could have delayed his 4 scores by a minute because trutaCz wasn't making mutas. And this type of drone advantage he could have gotten from that probably could have transferred into win for him.
Alrighty, well, we're going to be heading to a much more, I would say, traveled map here with Eclipse. So we're going to be heading right on into this next game. Here we go. Awesome. In the top right-hand corner, spawning as the red Zerd, we have trutaCz.
And in the bottom left corner, the blue blue Zerg, of course, is Hawk, giving us, or fighting for his lifeline. Either he wins or he's out of the BSL.
And this is going to be definitely a hard-fought last fight here. We are playing on a map that everyone's super comfortable with at this point. He's playing against one of the best ZZZeros in the scene. This is not his favorite matchup. Lots of things going against Hawk right now. What are we going to see from him? You think he's going to pull out the risky bisky hatch first? Or what do we...
No, I think they're both going to open the same way they did. This was, like, the opening was good for Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason for him to expect that trutaCz is suddenly going to deviate from what is done. Okay, maybe he's doing some 10 hatch in main. Or overgas. Okay. I have no idea how this is supposed to play out, and trutaCz is not doing a 9 pull. Okay, well, consider me wrong.
Got him, guys. He's wrong. I think this is the first time ever. If someone could clip this real quick, so we have proof that it happened.
Okay, he's actually 12 hatching.
Oh wow!
But in base, okay.
Okay, so still very relatively safe at this point. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, and like Hawk went for a really fast gas. I mean, I'm not sure what timing the pool has compared to like a 9 pull timing, but I don't think he's in any position to deal.
He's not going to
link
deal
damage.
Kind of...
But, like he's not going to be able to deal link damage with initial links, but he gets a way faster layer than trutaCz.
Yeah, and especially
both with layer and speed at the same time.
I'm so surprised by the in hatch or the in main 12 hatch though. Looks like we still don't have a gas, as Zero is pointing out to us as well. Are we gonna see 3 hatch Ling? Oh my god, we're gonna see 3 hatch Ling. This is so weird.
This is one of those few scenarios that can turn into Hydra base play. Like from trutaCz, because it's going to be at 3 hatcheries against 1 hatchery with a way slower layer. He barely sees the links. That's a big deal, at least if he catches them, but I think he does. trutaCz tends to pay attention, so now he knows that there are 2 Zerglings at least out on the map. I'm not sure he can confirm that there haven't left more before, but he at least knows there are 2.
This is so funny. I feel like.
But now he sees the rest of them. Yeah.
Here we go. All right, big attack at the natural, but we do have 2 hatches of Lings being produced back at home for trutaCz. And he will also eventually have Larva coming from that third. This has to do a lot of damage, I would assume, otherwise...
I'm not sure. I think like Hawk really doesn't want to lose his links. That's the main thing for him. Like he cannot lose his links because then he has like no production against. Okay, killing 1 drone is big.
Yeah, that was super fast too.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of this fight.
But now I think Hawk actually should. Oh, he can kill that drone. Yeah. Hey, wow.
Wow.
This is a very good opening for Hawk, I think.
Oh my gosh, and 2 Lings get in the main too, so he gets to go ahead and see that they're... I mean, I think with the number of Zerglings, clearly he would already know, but... Alright, well, I think we should be seeing some Sunkens or something here soon.
We definitely should. Well, I think Hawk, he kept his Zerglings, so he can just hold this ramp until Mutas are out, but he's still building one.
Yeah.
1 second.
You can power up that ramp with 3 hatch Zergling, but with the Sunken, you're
yeah,
not
but
going to be able to end the game.
He should have held until until Mutus round. And then you can hold like infinite amount of leads. So
That is true.
I would have preferred Hawk to skip the Sunken, make a second hatchery in his main, and go into those faster Mutus. In that case, he would have been in a really commanding position. With the Sunken, he still doesn't like allow himself to take his natural. It only helps his main. You see that Hawk stopped mining gas at least 53 drones, so I think he's planning on taking his third. There's still like an eternity until trutaCz has Mutus of his own. If he's even going into them. I'm not convinced by that. As you see, like, no lair started. Yeah.
Yep.
Might actually see the hybrid play.
Oh my gosh. That would be quite the treat. Here we go. Alright. First muta gonna come here and slowly tickle a drone to death. But he does get it. Oh,
Yeah,
there
he
you go.
does get it. That's
Nice.
worth it. Hit points are cheap.
Especially on Zerg units when you
Yeah.
can regenerate them all. If only this was StarCraft 2 and the Mutalisk healed like triple time the normal amount. I'm actually curious, wouldn't you want to cancel that Sunken and just save that little bit of minerals? He's still morphing it back at home just in case, I guess, he gets flooded or something.
I mean, I get that, because it is kind of a safety precaution, and at least if he's moving out with his own links, then yeah.
Yeah, in case of a run by or something like that.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I wonder what the serving count is for both players. Hawk definitely has more, even though trutaCz has been on 3 hatcheries. Hawk has the link count lead. Only by a couple, but a couple is still significant. Okay, no more. Never mind that.
Yeah, but if these Zerglings come out, we can chase and do a lot of damage to control, and of course
Yeah.
he does have the
He has the
Sunken back at home.
Mutalisk support. This is fine.
Oh man, these mutants doing a ton of damage right now.
Yeah. I think trutaCz should not be
Out on the map right now, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But here you see the benefit of the center.
Yeah.
Now
Truta's probably really disappointed to see that here because with these mutants, these Zerglings do
Oh,
essentially
he's losing
nothing.
one more drone. That's too bad.
All right, the big flood has arrived though, and we're not
Mhm.
holding at the ramp at all. I guess.
No.
gonna try to-
But he shouldn't when he has the Sunken and the Mutalisk. But he should save the drones.
Yeah. One goes down, the
Maybe.
second one probably gonna go down here. Very easy.
Yeah, taking one more. What's the drone count now for Hawk? Oh, still 11. Then he can, like with the Mutalisk count he can actually comfortably take
His natural.
fourth hatchery. This is definitely going to be a high triple play. You can't see anything else because he has fourth hatcheries going, no second gas, no lair. And
Oh my
he
gosh.
knows that Hawk's natural is late. Still, although Hawk in a good position here.
Oh man, this is gonna
Not
be
really
such a weird
gotten
game.
Much out of his Sturgeon investment so far. But like this is this precise scenario where going for the Mutalisk, the Hydra play is viable in general. Like in a scenario where your opponent stays in one hatchery for quite some time, while you have 3 hatcheries. That allows you to get a way higher drone count. Now Hawk has to go home with his Mutas to.
Oh, there's enough links to here to
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
temporarily.
I mean, the Mutas also can't deal any damage against trutaCz with him having this good spore coverage. So I think Hawk should just stay home and focus on droning. Personally, I even favor going into Lurkers of my own against this type of play from trutaCz. Because Mutalisk at some point they end up trading badly against Hydras, while Lurkers completely dominate them, and trutaCz's timing for when his move out is going to be, it's pretty late. Now the Hydralisk then it's done, he's not going to move out until he has both of them. But Hawk doesn't fully know what trutaCz's timing is like.
How much experience do you think Hawk even has playing against the Hydralist style, though? I mean, there are so many considerations that are completely abnormal in this situation.
In general, I mean, Zergs don't have that much experience playing in Cyprus. But I think Hawk knows the theory of it. I think now he's kind of, even though he might be suspecting or largely knowing that it's Hydra, and he still doesn't know the timings. Because trutaCz has been making Zerglings that have been forcing his own midlists beyond. But okay, taking a fast third, really good. trutaCz, he has double evolution chamber. I'm guessing his upgrades will be good. I started the second, but I'm guessing either +1 attack or armor is going to be done pretty soon.
Alrighty, we have found the third.
Yeah.
I feel like if a commitment here, though, by the Zerglings could be potentially dangerous, no? Like, if we lose all of the Zerglings on the ground, then trutaCz is pretty reliant on his essentially very small Hydralist army, or at least currently small Hydralist army, to do anything. Whoa, awesome decision. So we have a really nice little run by here into the main to try and distract the units from Hawk from defending both the locations at once. Unfortunately, we have a nice split of the Mutalists in both the third and the natural expansion, and of course that ever so important Sunken in the main has prevented too much damage from being done. I think we saw like a drone die, maybe one, yeah, so
I think he lost two, but yeah, it was a fine attack. But Hawk has been doing a very good job droning. So he has like correctly identified that it is a Hydra build, or he would not be droning this much. Now he can actually see some Hydras.
All right, so I'm pretty inexperienced with Hydras myself here. Now I would assume that Sunkens are like kind of play for a short period of time, but Hydras certainly outscale almost everything, and other than, like as you said, like lurkers. Hydras are like the ultimate unit if you get enough of them, because they do so well versus everything once you have a large army.
But I don't think trutaCz should be moving up now. I think it's too early. He should wait for more upgrades to finish. Oh. Okay, like with these counts and these upgrades, they still fare pretty badly against Mutiling combined. So Hawk, I think Hawk is going to be able to hold this and eliminate a Hydra Force if trutaCz chooses to commit.
Oh my gosh, Hawk is totally out of position.
Yeah, but I think it's still fine. Like, as long as it kills this Hydra army, he buys himself a lot of time. Now Links are coming in from the back. Still only +1 attack.
The Zerglings are so good when they're able to get on top of the Hydras on like this.
Well, like trutaCz really needed another 20 Hydras and +1 Carapace to complete before he engaged him.
Yeah,
I get why he does stuff, but because he saw that Hawk had gotten his third, and that kind of pulls or puts a timer on the Hydra player. Still, this is looking very good for Hawk now. Like a commandeering supply lead for him. And faster third. I think Hawk is even going to be able to.
Oh my gosh, the drone survives. That's a morale win right there for Hawk. Oh man. Yeah, so Hawk not recognizing though that there's an extra base there at the 12 o'clock, because that's got to be essentially completely free. If you pull the Hydralists out of the way, the Zerglings just run in the natural expansion. So that's a little unfortunate here for Hawk. But overall, I mean, I feel like that was kind of a little bit of an anxiety move out, or you see that third and you're like, okay, I need to make something happen here.
Yeah,
but that was a bloodbath over there at the natural expansion. The Hydralists got completely obliterated, so that is seriously slowing down the timer.
Now the upgrades are better, so the links actually will be pretty bad from Hawk now in future fights. Having 1-1 still though, the middle count is so high. That is If trutaCz somehow manages to hold and secure his third, like with Hawk not noticing it, can still it's still a fine game. But and he's building Hydras in that base also, trying to breach the position.
This would be ludicrous if that base just starts to be allowed to run, right? Like, there's no way to.
Yeah,
it
should not
check
happen.
this.
But still, like this kind of stuff does happen in Broodwar.
I think that's like the best part about the game, right? Like, even
Yeah.
the best players in the world and in the scene, like, make these types of mistakes because there's so much going on all at once.
Now you see that he's like pulling off or trying to kill individual Hydras going down the ramp and avoiding the spores all game. That's very good. Often you see Sturgs fighting against Hydras, and they kind of try to kill drones too much. They sacrifice mutas against the spores, get drone kills, but trutaCz who had like, oh, this is a bad engagement from Hawk.
Oh no, I feel like Hawk was looking away for just a little bit here. Although he still is cutting down so significantly.
This is a way for him to...
Oh, only 2 more Hydras left. They're spawning, but here comes a ton of Zerglings
if the drone
now.
pool comes now, drone pool with Hydras from the main and the third.
Oh my gosh, but
Like I wonder how many
defends.
mutas. I really wonder how many mutas Hawk lost there, because I think this might have been a turning point. At least if if trutaCz gets 2-2 going for his Hydras, which is still quite far away because +1 armor didn't finish that long ago. But once he has +2, then Zerglings have to do 3 damage per hit. And that ends up being a really big deal. You can see already now that the armors just lasting longer than it used to.
Yeah, these units though were bottlenecking quite significantly here at the ramp. So the muta's going to be able to kind of pull this one through a little bit. And now that the static defense at the natural expansion significantly softened up here, I would
If he started with
expect...
something though, if he started with Spore there instead, that would have been much better for him. Yeah,
And look at the drone transfer too. Just getting... Oh, man, so much going on right now. All right, Ling's going to be... Oh my god, only 3 Hydras in the natural expansion. Tons of Lings being flooded across the map here. Muta's now attacking the third base while the Lings are going to put pressure here at the natural expansion. Looks like we will see the third fall. The question is how...
2-2 is done. So...
Okay. The Hydra army desperately trying to get across the map here to try and help this third out, but it just looks like trutaCz doesn't have enough to be able to commit to that.
Still, if it gets like a big army now of say 36 Hydras, then that can be very dangerous against trutaCz's composition with no armor Lings and...
Ooh, I like the lurkers.
Lurkers decimate Lings harder than anything else in the game. Like that's probably the most imbalanced matchup of any unit versus unit in Broodwar.
Literally not fair.
No.
You're just sending them into the meat grinder.
It's like 5 lurkers will kill 100 Zerglings without boosting any any lurkers. Hardly even taking any hit points. But still, I think Hawk's Mutalisk count is probably too high. But like, I have played Hydra in Circle to Circle quite a lot. And you get like, sometimes you get surprised by just how efficient they end up being when they have the upgraded damage in large numbers.
The Hydras?
Yeah, the Hydras.
Yeah.
And now you see that he has a lurker there, so there's no threat of backstabs anymore.
Yeah, and of course, like, it's so ridiculous too, because you can't even kill, like, even if you had 5 million right now, you still have to get them across the map and be able to, be able to see the lurkers there. You know what I mean? Like, you can just make eggs and block off ramps and stuff and delay for so long now that you have lurker tech.
Okay, trutaCz is trying to take a 4th as well. You see he's floating a bit. If trutaCz manages to secure the 3rd and 4th now, this can still be a game.
I mean, I would expect that Hydra's overall scale better than Mutalisks in these fights.
Upgrade-wise, they do. and especially because he has 2 evolution chambers against one Spire. So now he's a 2-2 against 1-1. If he goes into Hive, which he should when he gets like the 3rd and 4th operational, then he definitely should be going into Hive, and then he might be like at 3-3 against probably not 1-2, but maybe.
Hawk now just has no efficient outlet now that we have lurkers on the field for his minerals as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, he basically can only make mutas.
These leagues are useless if the spike. He doesn't have an overlord there. Still though, the mutas are not.
Yeah. So how do you kill those lurkers though?
Well, you don't really have to go as long as you do the thing.
We have no OB speed. Here it comes. It's got. They're getting
trutaCz
drone
needs to have
kills.
force in his 3rd, which I'm not sure he has been building.
Oh my god! If we get to Hive and we see plagues now, oh my gosh, this is good.
Yeah.
This is an excellent. This is an excellent game. All right, Hive is a little the conga line a little bit. This is a terribly inefficient way for them to engage these. As the mutas just get the most surface area. What?
Yeah, it was over. It was over. The game was over.
Oh man!
Hey, that's
What a game. I mean, Hawk lives, man.
He does, and we're getting a real deciding match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
It was very, very solid by Hawk in general. Like it was a very good response, even though it's not like how I myself prefer to play against Hydroscoping, as I do favor going into Lurker myself. Hawk's decision making was very sound. Never trying to kind of sacrifice Mutalisks to get some drone kills, because the hatchery count is so big that the drone kills that normally end up being really significant in Serb, they don't matter much.
I was just so surprised though. I was so scared that Hawk had thrown the game with his attack at the natural expansion. Like he essentially got 2 spores for it, and it looked so bad there. And then just to go back and look and see how excellent his macro was, and just to have a gigantic flock of mutas still on the field, tons of lings ready to continue to put pressure on. And due to that attack is how he noticed that there was a 3rd, because he saw the Hydros come from that 3rd. So that ended up kind of being sort of a boon for him, all things considered.
Yeah. I mean, the attack was fine. I understand why I did it, but I think trutaCz made a blunder later on by trying to attack into the 4th. With him going into Hydra and having Hydra Lurker, having good upgrades, I think he should have tried to kind of secure his own bases instead, and spore them up.
Yeah, just wait.
Rather than try to, and just be comfortable with playing 4 base against 4 base, because that's good for the Hydra Hive play, like, especially if he goes into Hive, keeps his army. If trutaCz gets one Definer out, then his Lurker Hydra army is completely unbeatable before last Mutal base.
Yeah, to say nothing of Plague, even just
of course,
Dark Swarm is so
like you only need. If you get Dark Swarm to box natural with Hydra Lurker combo, like trutaCz could have had supply limit against 80 supply and he would have lost the fight. I mean, if he actually had supply limit, then or Hawk could have had supply limit, trutaCz could have had 80 supply limit.
Alrighty, well, it looks like we have our next map set. We're going to be heading on over to Goodnight. So another big 4-player map. Probably not going to be seeing Hydras this time.
Most likely not. It's also a very ramp map. The more ramps you have, the worse the Hydras perform.
Alrighty, well, we're going to head right on into that, guys. Here we go. Alrighty, guys, in top left-hand corner, spawning as the blue Zerg, we have trutaCz. And in the bottom right-hand corner, spawning as the red Zerg, we have Hawk.
Indeed. Okay, the deciding match. I think based on this game, I'm expecting trutaCz to revert into some more standard opening. 9 or 12 pool. No hatchery first.
Man,
Maybe he's trying to style on him a little bit. but now I think it is gonna revert back to the bread and butter.
You think that was a disrespectful move there to go for the 3 hatch, or do you think that was like the secret, the mega plan?
I think, I mean, it is the BSL. He does care about advanced homes group, but I think he was thinking that it has a fair chance of working. And I mean, to be fair, I think with slightly different decisions made, not as many circles made in the early game. Like, there are ways that he could have made this game work from the openings that they both chose. Myself, like, I would have been more comfortable with this position from trutaCz than from the 2 games where he actually won.
Yeah, I also think there's something to be said for, like, when you're up a game in a series and you feel like you're the stronger player, doing something weird to maybe mix it up and get like just a really easy, clean win can often really pay off for you. He's still not in a position I think that he's uncomfortable with. I'm sure he was a little surprised that it didn't go exactly what he wanted, but I mean, he still has another game to end the series, and I'm sure. I think everyone knows that he probably feels more comfortable in ZVZ than I think Hawk does. And
commenting on the game, I think they are really similar. Drone counts are nearly equal. Hawk has 1 more, I think, maybe 2 more. Okay, I actually think Hawk is 2 drones more. That could be significant. Yeah, definitely. Well,
yeah, especially in these cross positions where we have.
Yeah. So I don't think trutaCz's links will do any damage. I like this from Hawk a lot, that he actually got out 2 more drones before he started linging. Maybe he's expecting trutaCz to be doing exactly the build order he's doing. Yeah, and now you see that even though they both opened with similar build orders, Hawk went for faster drones, trutaCz for faster links. And that translates to an advantage for trutaCz right now.
I always enjoy seeing high-level players struggle to get their Zerglings in the perfect position at the top of the ramp, because I feel like an idiot every single time that I'm doing it. And it takes like 5 minutes. It's just like you have to inch them closer and closer, and they just don't want to. Like sometimes they'll just like run away, and you're like, oh my god. It's one of those little nuanced things about ZVZ that always makes me laugh every time I see it.
His build orders continue being pretty much identical. Spire timings are the same. Second hatchery timing the same. Both hatchery in main. Hawk has 1 supply more. I'm not sure if... Yeah, that's in links, not in a drone. 7. That's 10. And he has 1 more there. Yeah, this is looking exceptionally standard. But again, with Hawk having a tiny advantage from the early game, waiting with the growth or with the links.
I do have
Nothing
to say though, when we're talking about build order parity, I think that probably significantly favors trutaCz in this situation.
I think so also.
Yeah, I just, when we're talking about like just raw mechanical ability to make the most out of all the mutas and the Scourge and like getting out here and doing the damage, I'm worried that we're going to see Hawk get run around a lot, chasing trutaCz's units as they kind of dive in and slowly secure small advantages for him. So looks like we're about into that moment though. Mutas have spawned and are coming across the map now for Hawk. Mutas for trutaCz just also hatching themselves. Looks like we're finding random Zerglings on the map real quick here before we head on over. Yeah, this is that point in the game where we're gonna start seeing some stuff. So we do have quite a significant supply block here, as a lot of Mutalisks unable to spawn here from Hawk. So quite a big blunder already, as having these mutas out.
He should definitely not engage before the next batch of Mutalisks hatches, because right now he has like 200 gas unspent. You don't want to engage in a Zerg air battle before you've spent all your gas. As a general rule, I mean, there are exceptions always. So I think, even though Hawk's additional supply is okay, just one now, so now he's fine. But I am expecting kind of, if there's a 7 muta against 7 Mutalisks battle, then most likely that favors trutaCz. And now there's 8 and 2 spores against 7 mutas, but one more spawning.
This is
really
so funny.
Yeah.
It's just, this matchup's so crazy. You always have to respect your opponent. Like, no one wants to start the fight. You know what I mean? Unless you're getting caught, or unless you're catching someone out. It's just so hard to figure out what's going on. But, you know, trutaCz is being a bit more proactive with his units. He's checking the map for, you know, lings that are out anywhere, trying to limit the vision that Hawk has. You know, finding any overlords would be an excellent thing to pick off. Where Hawk was pretty much just sitting at home, but here we go.
Hawk is gonna get a free overlord now. That
is nice.
Significant. Yeah, like, and trutaCz has been bleeding more lings. If Hawk actually kind of forces an aerial engagement while sending the 10 spare links into trutaCz's main, can definitely go Hawk's way. And you also see that Hawk is faster third. trutaCz hasn't started his, so that is going to force trutaCz's hand.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny too, because like you mentioned, just picking off that one overlord, that's literally a third of the hatchery, right? And we're delaying, you know, the additional creation of like Mutalisks and stuff like that. So that tiny little move right there creates a pretty significant advantage for Hawk at this point.
This is very classic CVC. Sending a drone out. I'm not sure what the point with that one is.
It's a battle drone. He's gonna fight.
He's already taking a. That's a very fast gas to take, because the hatchery is not about to complete.
All right, 2 Lings just kind of running up constantly. Hawk is just sending him across slowly, trying to get information to see what's going on. It is nice to know kind of what the composition of your opponent's air army is and what they're doing. Seeing the timing of the hatchery and all that as well is very, very helpful. He should feel pretty comfortable now. He is already mining his natural expansion and will be getting on his gas very quickly, and just continuing to secure a little bit of a gas advantage with the Mutalisks. I'd be, you know, a little curious to see if we have any upgrades going on either of them.
Yeah. That's
because that can make a significant advantage when we're playing such a passive
If one
game.
of them, like, I think that Hawk has a slight advantage right now, but for example, if Hawk went for +1 attack while trutaCz went for +1 carapace, that would more than make up for the difference. So we're gonna find out not too long, I think. I'm not sure exactly what the timing is for when upgrades are likely to finish, if they both started them at reasonable times.
This is such a passive game.
Yeah. But okay.
That was big.
That's significant. If you can pick off some drone also now, I think he's gonna kill 2 drones. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, just one? Okay.
Still good?
Yeah, still good.
I really love it
it's
when
also it's like a definitely good move to pull back.
Is that all on like 1 or 2 Mutalisks?
I think he killed at least 1 muta and damaged 2, but might have killed 2 mutas also. It seemed worth it from my perspective. I think the drone count is really balanced, but still no upgrades done. Like, now I think that if they had both started upgrades when the Spire finished, then they should have been completed by now. But at the same time, they were both kind of knife edgy.
Yeah, it's very hard to make
Nothing-
that call. Do
yeah.
I skip one Mutalisk to get +1 attack? Is it worth it right now, or do I just die if I do that? Yeah.
It probably could have killed Hawk, I think, if he had gotten Carapace right away at least.
Oh man, it's just I feel like we're looking at like a Cold War right now. We're just arms racing it up.
Yeah, definitely, and there is like always this defender's advantage.
Oh my gosh, but trutaCz continues to just
Yeah.
blast these Mutalisks as they come out of the
Yeah,
eggs.
those spores are good. But now he just waits the 2 spores, so then it's like a wash.
Oh, this is cute. Oh no, the Mutas just aren't firing, and so we have to split immediately.
Oh, yeah, but that was actually all right for trutaCz, but it was very risky. You could
Yeah.
have ended up bleeding like 4 mutas there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox.
Luckily, the Scourge hits were okay.
Yeah.
And he got out with a nice. I'm actually surprised that we didn't get any. That Hawk wasn't able to secure any Mutalisk kills with like a moving shot.
Yeah, me too. Like he definitely had the chance to get on top of the punch there. Okay, now trutaCz is moving in to take a third. That should make him go into the defensive. Like now that he's starting a faster third, I think trutaCz should not be attacking anymore. Carapace is down for Hawk. How about trutaCz? No. Okay, both have
interesting.
+1. Yeah. I guess they kind of started them similarly as well then.
Look at that though. trutaCz able to pick off the expanding drone for Hawk as
Yeah.
well, so going to be able to delay that. That's very nice.
Oh, and those were several juicy connections. But now I think trutaCz definitely should not focus more
On attacking, but and yet
okay,
somehow
well, this is very good though. When he's actually able to deal damage to both mineral lines.
I think it was like 3
You should do it,
drones.
but now it's too risky because I think Hawk's Mutalisk count is definitely comparable to his, and it's way bigger than the 11 that trutaCz keeps fighting with or keeps harassing with. So
Yeah.
now it's starting to get really risky for trutaCz to go on these kind of small skirmishes, and as long as it just secures his third, then he will be able to take this game.
Man, trutaCz doing a great job continuing to control the vision outside of Hawk's
Yeah.
base. Hawk, I can make the reasonable assumption that there is a hatchery going up, but he doesn't know for sure, and that's got to be such an annoying position to be in to have to make that call. Because if you move out to check with your air army, you could get ambushed by a giant army and not be ready for the mute account. But if he stays in his base the entire time,
Yeah.
he just keeps losing forever.
But especially now, you see, like trutaCz actually went into the spores, I think, because he made colonies in both his main and natural.
There we go.
And
now we have
then
confirmation.
he
Hawks are down.
should not be attacking anymore. He should make a spore in his third and defend. If he does that, then there's no way he's losing. But right now, he's still in a very, very vulnerable position. You can see that Hawk has significant spoilage. Oh, but that's that
He's
engagement's
really
not
making
good.
the difference there with the Scourge this game, though. trutaCz has been so aggressive with it and just eking out incremental advantages, hitting
Yeah.
Mutalisks, finding little advantages everywhere.
Elbow. This is
Oh, the Lingzo in the main as well.
Hawk still has the supply advantage.
Oh no, some Scourge just derping out over there.
Yeah, and then River also. And Links in the main.
Still doing work in there. Man, what a chaotic game. Look, we even have Lings now in trutaCz has been
Yeah.
doing some work as well, getting on the spore and everything like that. There is just units all over the place.
Oh, he killed his own spore? That's seems a little excessive. Maybe just blocking the mine might be a mistake.
He's paying his respects to Duck, I think. Oh man, what a chaotic amount of things going on here. Ling's getting in the natural, almost sniping off that that one sport. I don't think they got it, so a little unfortunate, but just opening up room. Hawk is really making places space for him to attack.
Was Hawk able to start his third?
Looks like it is up, I think.
It's a little blocked for me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Just now. Yeah, so he's trying to start a third and a fourth, but +2 for Hawk. That could swing the next fight. Hawk still has a good Mutalisk army, but trutaCz is running away with the economy now. So Hawk is really on the timer.
The one thing I am a little worried about is Hawk doesn't have any static defense whatsoever, and so anytime he moves out, and not to be like make an attack on his ability to play or whatever, but he doesn't seem to have like 100% like complete control over the vision. Oh, big attack here though, and here comes the Scourge. trutaCz microing around the best he can. It looks like we had some okay connections here. The Scourge now derping out once again. But we have found the third once again for Hawk, and this is gonna be kind of a big thing.
Yeah, let's see how they engage those though. Like now he can sacrifice the third if he gets the moving shotgun, but he doesn't. So then he has to do the lanes. Yeah.
And that third is so low though. It's so scary. You
for
can come in with a few Mutalisks and pick that off at any point in your misposition now.
It's not like Hawk could cancel it and rebuild it because he really needs it to complete. But it is a big deal to them. They have like 200, 250, 300 on a hatchery.
trutaCz's Scourge stopping in midair, trying to negotiate a higher.
Now he gets the hatchery.
Oh my gosh! And the Scourge connect too.
Yeah, I think this game has displayed that like trutaCz's muta Scourge micro is slightly higher level. The Scourge really keep connecting.
I mean, and that's the thing about ZVZ2, right? Like, it's really a game of those tiny differences.
Yeah, for sure.
Hawk now essentially completely pressed into being the aggressor at this point, needs to make something happen as he's just going to continue to slowly get pushed out of this game economically. We even have a sunken out front of the natural expansion.
Oh, and then links in both natural and main.
Woo! And only one muta at home.
Yeah, that actually does deal significant from damage. And he's losing a couple mutas, I think.
Oh, big
these connections are gonna do it. Yeah.
Here comes the reinforcement.
Even though the links are dealing some damage, it's no good. Yeah, okay. Good game. trutaCz wins. I think that was a good series of games.
Yeah.
For a reserve deciding match, I'm very pleased by how that transpired. And I do think trutaCz kind of showed that he is a deserving and worthy second place finisher.
Yeah, I certainly think Hawk showed a very impressive fight. He put it, especially that last game. There was times where trutaCz was certainly on the back foot, and I mean, Hawk could have potentially made something happen there. It was a lot closer than I expected, that's for sure, especially considering that Hawk's ZVZ win rate is fairly low and going up against one of the best guys in the game. You know what I mean? It's so hard to overcome that level of skill. And he showed great games. I mean, like, I'm surprised that we even got all 3 games there. We had a really interesting Hydra game in the middle too as well, so I'm very happy with how that series turned out.
And our Chinese newcomer, even though he didn't play very long games, I mean, I guess the 3 of them lasted about 30 minutes total. He definitely did a good showing.
Yeah, it's funny actually.
We'll be happy to advance to second place.
Very weird.
Too bad North America. Next time.
One day, one day we'll have a North American champion. Who will it be? I don't know. It'll be Father SC, man. That's the up-and-comer coming out of North America, bro. But you know,
collapses and he can rededicate himself to Broodwar.
it is always a weird day.
I believe in Gypsy though.
Yeah,
Do well.
he's been showing so many good games.
Yeah.
And he's immensely talented too.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Man, it's just a weird day when all the Terran games are the shortest ones. I never see that coming. We had the longest game was a ZVZ. Who would have known?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. I believe that's all we've got for you today. But I do want to remind you guys real quick. We do have the show match coming up tomorrow. So if you're like me, and it's at 3 a.m, I guess you're waking up early, because it's gonna be Sun versus Legionnaire, and that is happening mañana. So check that out on your Team Liquid calendar to find out what time that is for you in your own time zone. And of course, we have groups tomorrow as well. So a whole bunch of StarCraft coming up tomorrow. Appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks so much for casting with me, Drone. It was awesome. I was totally surprised. I didn't know I was going to be able to finally get a cast game with you. So that's awesome.
I mean, I casted once, I think, like 7 years ago in this reunion tournament, Nostalgia thingy. But it was a pleasant experience. Very good co-host.
Alrighty, guys, and then do make sure we do have the BSL Patreon up on screen right now. If you guys have got a little bit of disposable cash, please consider subscribing to the channel, checking out the Patreon, checking out the BSL shop, and then maybe getting yourself a sick BSL hoodie or something like that. Thank you to all of our supporters from all tiers, regardless of what you can contribute. And of course, thank you also to our sponsors, Esports Fund and Optimunk. We really appreciate everyone in the community. Everyone, even if you can't dip into your pockets, as long as you're showing up and supporting StarCraft in your hearts. We love every single one of you guys. But thank you all so much for making this possible. Thank you, Zero, for having me on. I really appreciate being able to cast for you guys today. And I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. And we'll see everyone tomorrow, I'm sure, because if you don't show up, we're finding you.
Indeed. It was a blast. And I'll see you tomorrow. I guess I'm not casting then, but I'll be in the chat.